it was just amazing what I saw last week at SWAT. I mean, the connection we've made and the friends we've made. Um, and it's just like they were next door, really. I mean, it's the same thing. You've seen people doing work in their house, in their shop, and for their club and all this, and it's just like they were right there. And you could just go right there and watch it. And some guy, I was sitting there, and the guy says, "I missed the meetings. I wish I could see them." And I said, "You do know they're on our website, all of them." And he goes, "Oh, I never knew that. Who would do something like that?"
Mhm.
And he's exactly right. It's an amazing feature to tell somebody that every single thing we do is right there, everything. And, if you missed one, you can look it up or you can ask somebody and we'll find it for you. And, boom, you're there. You're in on it. You said you're looking at a wing making thing. I was right by Tim Yoder, the miniature wood turner.
Yeah.
And he was not having a happy day. He'd been working his butt off and he was tired. I think he missed his nap. And he said that. And he was trying to explain the wing turning to a guy, and it just was not going well at all. And this lady stepped up and said, "Look," she took a piece of paper and she said, "If we got this, and stacked back on top of each other, wouldn't that make a bowl?" And the guy looking at her says, "Oh, I never thought about that." And then he wanders off. All that effort that went in, and it's just like, lights on. But but it people, it was fantastic. Talk more about. I don't think they set a record at SWAT, but they beat last year's number of attendance. And it was a very crowded place and very interesting. And unfortunately, there was one club that kind of commandeered things and had a big show and had tables full of people and lines and gangs and kind of got boisterous. And I tried to calm them down, but they were all worldwide wood turners and they were just excited. Even though they belonged to other clubs, they sat at our tables with us because that was it. I think we had 5 or 6 of the demonstrators through all the rotations as our really active members. We're all there. We had the characters. We had the character. And we had fun. I camped out right next to, get this, I was right next to Carl and Robin Jacobson.
The outlaw.
The outlaw. Yeah. It's funny that I was right next to him because we had a member that wrote us last year upset terribly that I was so mean to Carl and Robin about something trivial. I don't know what it was, but they said
Telling him
picked
about
on
it. Yep.
picked on him and all this, and I was unfair to him. And yeah, those 2 outlaws are my best friends. And we hung out the whole time. I watched their booth. They walked off and left me with all that merchandise. All great stuff. I mean, I enjoy talking to people who are sitting there. And right across from me was Vince Welch, the sandpaper guru. And we just had a ball. And when I told people I'm gonna be sitting there, Vince had a chair with my name on the back of it. Carl and Robin had a chair right there, a space for me with a name on it. Come on, camp out here. We want the worldwide wood turners. And both of them took stickers. I went there with about 1,400 stickers. And I don't have any, management's got the returns from when we came back. But we didn't come back with a whole lot of stickers. We passed out a lot of stickers. And I'm terrible with names. One of our guys went and had me a whole bunch of business cards printed from our website. The ones Doug's got on our website, and he went to Instaprint, one of those places that had them done up. So we gave him a card with all the information and a sticker, and invited him to join us and come on in, and really made a big a big play on it. Got a lot of questions about Level Up, a lot of questions. And all of them were answered with, it's coming. See this? Now I do right that, point right to the poster. See that? That's the first step of a long journey. And we're coming. And we're shaping this thing up, and it's geared for wood turners. And they all had a million ideas and questions and concepts and all. And throw them all. You have something to do with Level Up, drop us a note. Do not hesitate. Level Up at worldwidewoodturners.org. Send it to an email. Level Up at worldwidewoodturners.org. Send us your input. Tell us what you'd like to see, what you wouldn't want to see, an idea for demos. They were really excited that we'll have turning stations with multiple lathes. And you'll be able to actually go hands-on with the instructors and nitty gritty of wood turning. They were excited about that. SWAT's as close to that as any other symposium ever gets. We're going to go all the way. And they really like it that you can get in and get down and dirty and question the demonstrators and all. Now, they're a little restrictive about the time frame and all because they don't want you to come in at the beginning. If class starts at 1:30, I went to Duxbury's second or third demonstration, and I walked in. It was 1:26, and I rolled in my cart and stood there, and I said, "Come on, Dux, let's go." And he said, "Can't go." Why? The guy running the room for Brazos, the club that managed that room, he handled the clock, and Jim couldn't go until 1:30. And when he said stop, Jim had to stop. So the formal meeting was, they clocked it. They really wanted it to be full and or filled in and cover everything. And was very well organized. But I saw Jim's demonstration. I saw Scott and Rita Duxbury and Joaquin Vincent and a couple others, and all done very well. All done very well. And it was nice to, when it was all done, you just go walk the guy out to the lounge, to the lobby if you want to, buy him a drink or whatever. Really good. And that's what we're looking to do when we go to Level Up. We're looking to loosen it up so you can come up and learn and be with people and experience wood turning in a world that friends live in. Yeah, that's right. A world of wood turning that friends live in. That's a unique concept in today's world. The whole time I sat there and talked to folks about worldwide wood turners, I tell them, I reach my pocket and pull $1 out. So we started with this $1 and we still got it. We never need to make a whole bunch more. We hadn't spent the first one. So it's not about this. It's about me and you and I and everybody else being friends, sharing ideas. And that is really the clicker. People were very appreciative of that, folks. They want to know more, that it's that kind of gathering that we don't have an agenda of, it's got to be so formal, it's unbelievable. We don't do that. And we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it uniform and lined up and decent, but in line with having fun turning wood. I think the best thing I saw all weekend when I was with all 4 days was just how people will share ideas immediately. Go someplace, pick something up, and folks will come up and start talking to you and sharing ideas and this and this and this. Oh, yeah, let me take you over here and do that. And there's no borderline where you can't share stories between vendors and tips and hints and all. They're all friends. I mean, there's no fighting between the vendors and no battles going on about this brand and that brand. They all know it, you know, you're going to buy what you can buy and what you can use and how you want to use it. The big joke was, what's the best gimmick of the day? or gizmo of the day. And I didn't find it. I looked. But it was great. And we got together, the crew. Let's say this loosely, the crew. I was invited by some of our regular members that are here all the time to go to dinner at a little Mexican restaurant across the road from the convention center on Thursday night. Yes, it was Thursday night. We had about 20 of us. And get this, we had Joaquin, Scott, Billy Burt, Duxbury, Tim Hatch, Biles, all those people at one table in a noisy restaurant at one time. I have no idea how they stayed in business. It was good. Actually, the meal wasn't very good, but the company, it was a blast. And Duxbury should be in an institution someplace. Jim? Yes, he should.
My meal was fantastic, by the way.
Oh, yours was? Mine was like cardboard. But
That's because Cindy fed you.
well, you know that. And I had one nacho, just one nacho, Billy. You know that. I had one nacho. That's all. And I got caught.
You're supposed to eat the pizza, not the box.
Ah,
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I wish they'd somebody should have sent me a note. I got caught eating right off the bat. A little tray of cookie things, and I picked one up and dipped it in something that was on the table. And I don't know what it was, but she said, "What's in your mouth?" and well, that was it for snacking. And then she picked the plainest thing on the menu for me. But hey, you're gonna give in. Billy, I gotta let you know, my wife thinks you're a lovely, dear, sweet person. I worry about this, man. I really do.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I would too.
Yeah.
I don't know where she gets that. Y'all see what's behind me over here?
yeah, where'd that come from?
That's the one we had. I had at the get together. I had
I
a
know.
on Sunday morning, and
Yep.
Billy took it home with him, and it's in Billy's care. Because that's only the first step. Y'all know that.
Yep.
And to kind of even things out, we had Rita, Jim's sidekick.
There she is. We had a great time.
Oh, there they are.
We're still getting emails and whatever else. We had a great time.
Good for you guys.
Are you all
It
still
was
traveling
fabulous.
with you, Jim? Or are you back
Pictures
at
were
house?
great.
What's that?
I said, are you all still traveling or are you back at the house?
No, we're in
Traveling.
New Mexico, Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Oh, nice. Well, drive safe.
Us in a pile of rocks. Man, I'll tell you.
We had a ball.
You guys
Didn't
are
we
going
have
the
a
wrong
ball?
direction.
And a car full of wood for Rita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, he
Carlsbad
can't.
is the wrong direction in North Carolina.
You got it.
He can't go back home. They know where he lives. They're looking for him.
No, my
Jim, you look like
grandson.
you got a lot of sun.
My grandson lives out here. Yeah, there's a lot of sun out here, I'll tell you. Although we spent yesterday in a cavern. We were down the bottom, 750 feet under the ground. It was gorgeous, just
Fantastic.
gorgeous place.
Yeah, it is. That it is.
We had a wonderful time. So far, we had a wonderful time. We're taking the slow trip home and seeing some stuff on the way. I have to keep Rita out of national parks. I'll tell you.
Ah.
She's always wanting to branch off of something or take some darn thing. We're just keeping her out of national parks. I don't want to go to jail.
No, I don't blame you.
Had a discussion on that note, Jim, about buying battery powered chainsaws.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
no.
They're quiet.
Good thing we didn't have one the other day, I'll
Yeah.
tell you.
That's right.
Rita, my
Rita was
wife
like-
absolutely loves that pendant. She wanted to say thank you so much. She's still at work.
Oh, you're welcome.
You pass it on.
Yes, my wife said the same thing, Rita.
You're very
Oh,
welcome,
yes.
very welcome, glad.
My measuring gauge that Jim did for us is sitting on my desk right here.
Okay.
And just to let you, so y'all really get jealous, I have got an autographed copy. Look at that.
Yep.
See that? Jim autographed that for me. Yeah, that's him right there. We had a ball. I mean, really a ball. But that's what we have to look forward to at Level Up, folks. This is a kind of hijinks, fun, and entertainment. I saw great demos, saw fantastic art in their gallery. That was the coldest room in the house. I mean, they had slabs of beef hanging in that place to keep it cool. Was some gorgeous art, really great detailing and work. Billy, who's the guy that did the parasols?
Sammy Long.
Sammy Long does these parasols. Billy saw the parasols, and Billy's gonna
Absolutely stunning.
recreate something similar to these parasols. But when you see them, folks, if you can't touch them, you can't imagine just how light, frail, and delicate they are, besides being an absolute positive work of art. And that's one of the demonstrations that were there at the symposium. It was great. And some other folks really turned on some good work with some great details. And whenever I go there, I don't go looking for what comes out. I go looking to see who can teach and how. Sammy did a good job.
Yeah, he did. I'm going to interject here for just a second, Eddie. For those that haven't seen it, I put up early this morning. I put up a 32-minute gallery walkthrough from SWAT. It's just the gallery. Launching Friday night at Thursday night at midnight. No, Friday at 12 a.m. will be my SWAT video on my Messy Studio channel. So go to the Messy Studio channel if you want to see what the instant gallery looks like. It's out there.
Oh, I saw you working on that constantly. I
Sure,
gotta
George.
see. It's great. It was great. It really. The boss walked me through it and kept saying, "Oh, come see this. Oh, come see that. Oh, come see this."
There is some stunning artwork in there. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Right on. Thanks, Bill. I'm glad you did that.
It's always a humbling experience when you walk through those.
Extremely.
I don't care who you are, or how much you've turned, it's a humbling experience.
There it is. There's the parasol.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful stuff.
I'd be
Yeah,
afraid to touch it.
I'm every time I go to SWAT and I go through the gallery, I'm tempted to sell all my wood turning equipment.
Yeah,
This is
right.
off of Sammy's site.
When we saw that sitting on on display table 29 in the gallery, I couldn't believe it. And
I
I
held the
had to
top part
touch it.
I held the top part of that in my hand.
The whole thing fits in your
I got
hand.
my hand slapped.
Well, no, it's about 6 inches across, maybe 5.
Thanks. I'm gonna stop sharing now, guys.
Beautiful, beautiful work. I mean, and so delicate. And there's somebody did a pierced baseball cap, and I can't. I got a photograph, but I didn't get a picture of the name.
Jim Williams has done. Jim Williams has done those.
Yeah, it was Jim Williams.
That was it. And
Yeah,
it
he did a hat demo. I didn't go to it, but
it was
he did.
awesome.
He's a great guy. His demos are really good.
Yeah, he was holding court right there, and he must have been 50 people gathered around him looking at his work in there. As soon as I got there, Jim and Rita grabbed me by the arm and said, "Come on, you got to go see the gallery." And And my brakes were on when I got to the end of the first table. I mean, it was just that shocking. And there was some really great demonstrations, or pieces in there, and not weird turnings. And I call weird, it wasn't off the wall type stuff. It was really great decorative, artistic wood turning,
Yes.
quality work, segmented pieces. There's a basket weave pattern that hurt my eyes to look at on a platter. I mean, it was that delicate, that gorgeous. And I met people that worked with some of the clubs that did the audio video for some of the clubs. They got exposed to those demonstrators for every rotation of the day that they volunteered to work the booth. And one guy, and I can't, Gonzalez or Gonzo, whatever. He said, this is the best experience I've ever had in my life, because I'm right here, right on top of it, watching the guy set up, get his tools out, set things up, plan his work, and develop his master plan for it. And he said, what's shocking is it's instant. You know it's in here, and he's just going to put it right there. Boom. And the whole detail explodes.
Yeah.
We did hear that Scott Hampton talks too much when he does his demonstrations.
That's what I heard. Howard King has an entire table. Well, so did I, but Howard King has an entire table at the gallery at SWAT that was absolutely amazing.
Oh,
So much color, so much creativity. You'll see it in the video.
yeah. I was so lucky. I was sitting next to him at the last night's dinner, and my wife said, "What do you do?" Just talking to the crowd, and I said, "That's Howard King." She said, "So what's he do?" And I popped up one of the newsletters, and look, honey, she goes, "Oh, that's Howard King."
You mean aside from causing trouble?
Well, he was in good company at that table.
Yeah, he was.
We had some other great turners there, really great, but people involved, and that's what I like. That's what I love about Worldwide Woodturners. We got involved, folks. We really did. We got there and we got involved. I came from a club that forgot what happiness and fun was all about. And if you can't be happy in a club, you can't have fun, you can't kid around with people and enjoy what you're doing, you're in a wrong group. In our group, every one of us was kidding and joking. And I mean, guys and gals came by all day long with different people and things to meet and talk and joke about. Brenda, I had people ask me, how many Band-Aids do you wear? Really, and some really nice guy out of Abbeville, Louisiana, said she wears Band-Aids. I said, "Oh, no, but you gotta know about that story. You missed those early meetings." And he said, "But y'all talk about it?" I said, "Oh, there's nothing sacred."
Made a club out of it.
Yeah, I said it's what happens is. And that's where one guy said, "How big a tailgate you have?" He was across the room. "Hey, how big a tailgate do you have over there?" And I said, "As big as we needed, buddy. Come on." And it was very good. I put a little something on Facebook about it. This was prescribed by colluded by my doctor and my wife. Got together, little sweethearts. And I went there. Well, Tuesday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning, I had to go back to the clinic. It was the sit with the head guy. And we sat there for a little while and we talked a little bit. And I said, "We have to do anything else?" And he says, "Nah, we ain't anything else to do. You're in such good shape. We don't believe the change. We don't believe the transition. If we could put what you got last week in a bottle, we'd be rich. Because what you did, you went and hung out with people that you know and you love and you like, and you talk about something you have in common, and you joked and you kidded and you shared, and you all came together. And he said, do you know how much that improved your mental capacity and your ability to think and function and do things? He said, we can't measure it. All I can tell you is it worked. That I am more advanced right now than I have been in the 10 years since I had my brain tumor.
And,
Did he charge you yesterday for that visit?
Oh,
Since he
does
said
he
we're
ever?
going to visit?
Does he ever? But this morning we had another assessment with somebody, and health wise, and that was mental. Health wise, rocket, I'm off the charts. Just and it's the best thing, folks. Honestly, it's the best thing ever for me, and it's good for all of us. This is the kind of experience we all need to interact with. That's why we're here.
Yep.
We all need to let it go. And you know, I was teasing with somebody about rules. We don't need no rules. And it's, as we always joked about, it's like kindergarten. We're going to go in, we're going to get happy, make a friend, come home with a smile. All this other stuff is, you know, do we need it? Do I have to worry about how many nickels I get, or what, or you know, how much money I make or anything? That's all for tomorrow. It was great. And y'all, you folks that want to join us in Wisconsin, it's going to be even better. Even better. We know the path. Now we're paving that sucker. And those that want to know, why don't we go any faster? We're making the super highway, folks, before we go there. That's just
Yeah, I was asked, why so long? Why wait so long? And my response was simply, when you do something like this, you can't go at it ad hoc. It takes planning, and we want to make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. We want to try to think about and assess any contingency that might occur. It's like doing risk assessment. You got to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
We're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going into it blindly.
a good
We're
attorney
not
goes
going
into
into
court.
it blindly.
A good attorney goes into a court not only knowing what questions to ask, he needs to know how the answers are going to come back. And that's what we're doing. We're not
Yep.
saying what if, we're saying if it happens, what's going to happen and what can we get around or what can we do? What happens if this occurs? And folks, what you have to keep in mind is we're not a major corporation, and we're not going to hire a party planner or a developer or whatever. We're going to do this with our friendship and our friends and all these people. The GA, our committee, they're all volunteers and all helping us because they like you, love what we're doing. We're going to get it in order. We're going to plan it out. I mean, we could have just thrown the dirt, threw a stake in the sand and say, let's go there this summer and do this. Yeah, but what? There's the what if. So we're working on it and it's going to go good. And a lot came up. Albert, the other day you said, what about the wives' activities? Boy, did that come up this week.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you threw that on the table for us. We're working on that. In particular, I had wives of active members that were there with them. I mean, there was a lot of guys had their spouses with them. They came up and said, you know, when we're up there, there's such and such and this, and there's this and this and this and this. And I said, I want to have that feedback. I want to have that input. Send me those ideas. Send them to me. Even no matter how harebrained they might sound, throw them in a bucket. We'll have somebody, we'll start looking at them. And if nothing else, it's not going to be maybe not a planned event, but maybe a suggested event. My wife says she's going to Beaver Falls to see the somebody's wiki a shop for a quilt shop over there. And I said, why? She said, well, she was the leader in the quilt world at one time, and I want to go take a look at this stuff and all. And what else? And she's got 2 or 3 other towns around there that's got features like that she wants to go see. So
Eddie?
don't put a deal on them.
Eddie,
Hello.
this is Scott. This is Scott,
Go
one
ahead,
of your
Scott.
planners.
Hey, man.
You better bring your checkbook because less than a mile down the road is one of the biggest quilt shops in the area.
Scott, I don't have a checkbook.
Well, she might put you back to work because she might have to earn some more money.
Here's a guarantee. No, but yeah, I know we had to go to get this. We had to go stop at Buc-ee's. We went to Texas, so we had to stop at Buc-ee's. So we asked, and Tim Hatch told us where Buc-ee's was, and was it Mansfield or Madisonville? On the way up there. So we stopped, and this is not a really big Buc-ee's, but it is a big place. And I guarantee there were 300 people walking around on that floor. So that little stop cost me $76. And we didn't get fuel.
You got out cheap, Eddie, cheap.
Then coming out, we're doing all this by the iPad and the iPhone. She says, Buc-ee's. And a Buc-ee's comes up and she says, we're going here. Go. And she pressed it. We went to Temple by A&G, Texas A&G. Went down there to another Buc-ee's. This one is twice the size of the first one.
Lord
Cost
have mercy.
me. We went 3 digits there, easy.
There you go.
And didn't get gas. So I just gotta understand what you're talking about. It's but she said, we don't have one to go to down here. That's terrible. But we do find that there's attractions like that. And
This one might cost you 4 digits, Captain.
And that's another reason we need to have this 2 years from now, because it's going to take you that long to save up for that trip again.
That's right. That's right. Plan
Well,
accordingly.
It's and it's this weekend together, her and I, is the first trip like this we have made in a long time. And it's freed us up to realize we can go for a little 3 or 4 day holiday here and there. And now she's looking at places she wants to go, so maybe a 2-day drive, a 3-day drive. Unfortunately, Scott, they all involve quilt places. Yeah.
And Buc-ee's.
Check your list, Eddie. There's got to be one of us wood turners close to where she's going.
Oh, I keep an eye out. I'm keeping yeah. It's but it's this last week proves that friendship can do a whole lot for you, folks. The friendship, letting go, friendship. You love wood turning, you love what we do, you want to be part of the gang. There's no hierarchy, and that's somebody sat with me the other day and said, okay, who's like your CFO and things like that? You ain't ready for this. I said, we don't have one yet. And we think about getting one, but Donald Duck's busy.
Great.
You have to let go of that end of the world, folks. We just having a good time, and we're going to have a great time. Y'all won't believe the effort that these people are putting together for you. It's really great. I love it. I can't wait to see the gallery at Level Up is going to be probably the most awesome galleries ever shown at a wood turning symposium. Ever shown. I mean, we're going to cover it from soup to nuts.
Hey, Eddie, we got a new member in here in the chat.
Yes. Yes, we do. Welcome, Teresa.
Welcome, Teresa. We've
Hey, how
got,
you doing?
Can we
Hey,
highlight?
Teresa,
You got our camera on?
speak. I'm
Everybody's there?
gonna get out so we can find you. Teresa, all you gotta do is say
There
hello.
she is.
There she is.
You're muted, Teresa.
There we
There
go.
she is.
Welcome.
She's-
There she is. Hello
Great
there and
For the
welcome.
group,
Hello.
we would like to
Hello and
welcome you to
welcome.
the most fantastic and the most resourceful wood turning site you're ever going to come to. We have been doing this for just over 5 years, every week, where we get together, we shoot the crap. We start showing gallery. We'll be showing gallery here in a couple minutes after I get done with my welcoming spew here. And then we'll have a demo.
Okay.
And then we'll do some more gallery and we'll troubleshoot problems that anybody and everybody may have or may not have. And then the meeting will end. And then we have an unabridged after hours party that I like to call it, where everybody that wants to stay and get to know each other gets to know each other. But I was watching for your name. Remember letting you in a few days ago. Remember giving you a nice welcome on the Facebook page. So I was happy to see your name pop in, and I'm damn glad that you actually had your camera on and you wanna come on camera and take yourself off mute. So everybody,
Great.
hands together and welcome, Teresa.
oh, Teresa. Welcome aboard,
Thank
Teresa.
Thank you very much.
Welcome aboard.
You're
Glad
gonna
to
have a
be
blast
here.
tonight. You're gonna have a
Remember,
blast.
Teresa, don't
gonna have a
hold
blast.
back. Good, bad, ugly. Don't hold back.
Yep.
Don't be
Nah.
bashful. You will get more from the group by participating as opposed to acting like a mushroom, sitting in
Yes.
the dark, or at least looking like you're in the dark for us because you got your camera off and you're muted. Then as opposed to like, the majority of us that are all, we got a black belt and flapping our gums. So once again, it's
If you have
Welcome to the
any
group.
questions, ask
this is the
either
place.
in
Sure will.
chat. There is no dumb question.
Well, I'm
Nope.
glad to hear
Just the
that.
ones that ain't asked.
And if we can't answer it, one of us can definitely show you how it's done real time on the lathe. So
All right, that sounds
Where do you
wonderful.
live at, Teresa?
I live in a little bitty town called West in central Mississippi.
Mississippi. Oh, yeah, I did see
all right,
that.
well,
Sorry.
at least you got trees.
Mississippi, Grace,
Nice,
you there?
All right.
outstanding.
have you.
Welcome.
good to
Welcome,
Thank you.
Teresa.
All right.
I got surprised.
Welcome to the nut house.
I got surprised the other day when I was at SWAT. I was talking around and just visiting with folks, and this is what popped up on me. All of a sudden, that. Yeah, she doesn't. We
Hi,
didn't.
Sandy.
have it yet.
Sandy.
Hello, Sandy.
Hey,
You're
Sandy.
muted, Sandy.
Unmuted.
Sandy was there with working with D-Way Tools, or helping out with folks at D-Way Tools. She came over, we chatted for a long time, and her and the Allens and a bunch of other folks. We had a really big showing there. And it was good to see him. It was good to see him all. And I see other faces on here tonight that were with us that night, that weekend. But welcome new members. If you need anything, as we explained a minute ago, just pop up and say it. Tell us what you need. If you have something to show in gallery tonight, it's simple.
Put it in the gallery. Put it in the
Put the
chat.
gallery, say, I have a piece to show. And this is how it works, okay? I founded the operation, but I don't run the operation. The meetings are operated by Dane. He has co-hosts. His co-hosts handle bringing in the demonstrators and galleries and things. So if they introduce you, they may say, hey, turn on your camera, or we're going to such and such. That is like your cue. You're going to be on deck, on screen. If you sign up, have your things right there and be ready to launch and go. And remember, we're going to ask how big it is, what kind of wood is it, and what kind of finish you have on it. And that's a gimme. That's automatic. And if you get 2 or 3 wows, it may continue on after that. So with
Sure.
that, Is it
With
that
that,
time? It's
let's-
about quarter after the hour.
Yeah, it's a quarter after. Let's get to some gallery, and I'll turn it over to Matt. Start calling on folks for gallery. I know he's the first one to sign up. So Matt, take it away, buddy.
All right. Thank you. Let me put me on. So I don't know, last year sometime I did a captured ring demo for y'all. So, and I did it with the skew. And my club was asking me to do another demo on goblets. And I got asked if I had a captured ring tool, and I said, no, I've just been doing them with the skew. But they got me to thinking that I'd really like a captured ring tool. So I made one this week. So there's my handle. It's out of cherry.
Nice.
And a piece of steel. And it's slightly tapered. Oops, let me turn it this way for y'all. It's slightly tapered down toward this way. And the tip of it is angled slightly, so it's cutting with the inside edge. And I did this all mostly with a Dremel. So, and this is 1/2 inch, and I used the Dremel one of the sanding mandrels as the outline for it. I just put it on the metal and drew an outline with a Sharpie and then cut down to it. And it works real well. And this is my practice piece this week, makes big rings and smaller rings. So
there you go.
Where'd you find that? Where'd you find the metal, Matt?
On Amazon. If y'all want the link, I'll put a link in here in the chat for it.
That steel's actually tapered in itself, right? It looked
it wasn't.
from the
It's just
side.
a square piece of of steel.
All right, it was.
Any tapering was done by me,
Right.
mostly by intention and sometimes a little bit accidental. So,
Well-
but yeah, I tapered it, and I think that I will probably taper this a little bit more this way, just because it seems like the ones online seem to be more tapered. I'll try that, and if I don't like it, then I can always cut it off and go at it again. So,
Did you heat and or temper the steel any after you created the device?
I have not. I had several people have asked me that on Facebook, and I will have to look into how to do that. So
Was it?
So it's not M2.
It's high speed steel. It's HSS.
Okay,
Well,
it
how-
shouldn't-
It's not-
it
You're
shouldn't
fine.
need
You're
to.
fine.
It shouldn't need to
You
be.
don't need to. You
No,
don't need to.
if it's
No,
high speed.
all I
you don't
did-
do-
All I did was when I was cutting it with the Dremel, and I did use my angle grinder a little bit when I was doing the taper. And I haven't put it on my grinder at all, but when it started to get too hot, I just dipped it in some water to cool it down. And I don't know if that's hurt it or helped it, but that's what I've done with it.
It didn't hurt it. You're fine.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly
Yeah.
fine. Doesn't need hardening.
Nope, it's already hard.
Yep.
Unless you get
Very
it
good, Matt.
really, really hot, you're not going to untemper.
Yeah, but
and on a grinding wheel, you are never going to get a piece of metal hot enough to remove the temper.
You don't.
That is an old wives' tale. When you turn your steel blue on the grinding wheel, that's not removing the temper, unless it's carbon steel, which has a lower heat tolerance for
Right.
hardening. But for high-speed steel, just because it turns blue, it does not mean you left the hardening on the grinding wheel. It's you can't get enough friction to
Okay,
That's what I
cool.
would do.
2,000 Fahrenheit to remove the hardness from the steel.
All right. Well, that's my gallery for this week, but I'm tickled pink at how well this tool works. So it's very quick. It's a lot quicker than using the skew. And I mean, you can see that in this little bit of wood, I got 3 rings out of this, and the space here is more for aesthetics than anything else. So it really hooks around behind these really well. So, and I could turn a bigger one, a thicker one than the one I've got on here. So I don't know, but I'm delighted with the tool. So
Matt, how would you sharpen that?
well, all I've been doing, I mean, I've got these little honing cards, okay?
Yeah.
And basically where I'm cutting is I'm cutting on the inside edge of the curve here. So all I'm doing to sharpen it is I'm just running this not that side, this side. Is I'm just running this along that inside edge.
Okay,
Okay, that's all I'm doing. And if I feel, and if it's got crusty on here, then I just run it like that on here too, to remove the crust. So, I mean, what you want is you want this leading corner here to be sharp corner. That
Got it.
seems to work best. Now, when I'm turning and I'm on the tool rest, and oh, one other thing I've done here with this is I've rolled, I got on my belt sander and I rolled over the edges on this. So the edges are rounded. They're not sharp. So it seems to cut best when I roll the tool up and cut it on the corner like that. It seems to work better and cut quicker that way. And that might be because this is a little too thick in here. So anyway, I'm going to experiment a little bit more with it, but
Matt, when you tip it up like that, the burr is addressing the wood rather than the flat surface. So what you're doing is just hitting it with the burr.
I hear you, but it doesn't have a burr on it. Okay, what I'm hitting it with is the corner, and when I tilt it up, I hit it with that sharp corner edge. It's more of a, think of it as I add some negative rake to the scraper.
More like a negative rake. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way,
so
mine is sloped in on both sides too, so you can use it on left orient or right oriented, and you can cut both sides of the ring.
Yep. So yeah, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah. All right. So next up is Joaquin.
All righty. All of you SWAT attendees, please email photos of SWAT to the editor at worldwidewoodturners.org. I want at least the front page. I want to fill 2 or 3 pages with the Worldwide Woodturners takeover of SWAT. So that's up to you. I need you guys to email me the photos and please include who's in the photos. If we don't know them, we know a lot of them, but we may not know everybody in the photo. So give me a list of who's in there, please. We already have a tool build in the next edition of the newsletter. But if you show it here in gallery, it belongs in the newsletter. If you post it on our Facebook page, it belongs in the newsletter. I ask that you email your photos because when you post it on Facebook, Facebook strips as much information out of the photos as possible to make them load faster, which makes them tiny when I download it, try to put it in the newsletter, and I can't add data by making the photo bigger, so it prints really heavily pixelated, which is why I need your original photos. That's all for the newsletter. So Mark Soleil gave me some eucalyptus a couple of years ago. I don't know what type of eucalyptus is, but it is unmistakably eucalyptus. So this was a practice piece that I used my new Bosch hollowing tools to turn. It's 1/4 of an inch thick all the way through. It's consistent. I got to tell you, those hollowing tools are amazing. And I think the difference between my old carbide hollowing tools and the Bosch is 1/4 of an inch wide blade. So you end up using just a tiny little amount of cutting surface. It cuts faster. It doesn't grab. And I hollowed this in less than 45 minutes. It's the first time I've ever made a hollow form this size, and it didn't take 3 hours.
It's a really pretty practice piece, JJ.
Thank you. But the Bosch tools are such a wildly vast improvement over the carbide. It's night and day. Really makes it easy. It literally makes hollowing enjoyable rather than a battle. So that's the practice piece.
Do they have a hook tool also to get around a rim?
I'm sorry, ask again, Al.
Do they also have like a hook tool with that cutter at the end of it?
Swan neck, a swan neck.
A swan back. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's so mine. I have 3. I bought the set of 3 blades. It's a straight, then a slight bend, and then a deep bend.
Okay.
So the email address is editor@worldwidewoodturners.org, and I will put it in the chat again. So that was a practice for this. And I left a little mark, so we had a little live edge. And my service dog passed a year ago, July 5th. It is finished, Randy. It is finished. That is a finished piece, but it was a rehearsal for this one. And this has the NilesStoppers.com bronze ring, 2.5-inch bronze ring, which is, I love they're fantastic. Really nice fit on those. Again, 1/4-inch thick, hollowed really well. This piece had a significant split in the pith. So I used UV resin just to fill the hole in the bottom of the urn, just so that there was no hole. And it worked perfect. In fact, while I was turning the finial, I had set the UV flashlight on the top because I poured a little down in the inside and left it on for an hour. So that is very much cured. But that's a great, just, you know, if it's going in the bottom of the urn, it's not something that's going to be visible. I don't need to worry necessarily about making sure that I turn or finish it down there in the bottom. On the inside, it was a perfect solution to seal the bottom of that and make sure that this is a sealed solid vessel. And then the finial is ebony.
Just beautiful.
Well done, Joaquin.
It's
Very
yeah,
nice.
it's
Very nice, Joaquin.
It's gorgeous, Joaquin.
Thank you.
but you had practice on the first one.
Yeah, right.
That's really pretty stuff. Hey, since I'm talking to you, and we're talking about the paper. Okay, now I do just about everything on my phone, and I take a picture. Now, what you're asking is, now you say you want the picture to be three times, 303 times, you know, making the zoom bigger. Now,
What? Okay.
What you're saying is on my phone, just make the picture bigger. But see, if I make the picture bigger, I have to step back a little bit further. So
not zoom in. The file size. So
okay, that's what I'm making everything all messed up.
yeah, the file size. So in your, do you use an iPhone or an Android?
I have an Android.
Okay, so do I. So the file size is what I'm talking about. When you have the camera app up here in the top, there should be a bunch of choices. One is the ratio. This is which is the size 3:4, 9:16, or 1:1, which is a square photo like for Instagram. Next to that, now this is an S24. I don't know what version you have. Next to that is a button that says 12M. And if you push it, you have the option of 50M or 200M. That's megapixels. The higher the megapixels, the larger the physical aspect of the photo is going to be. So if you shoot a photo at 50 megapixels, hang on. That should give you, let me see if I can see the settings here. No, that's not what I want, phone. Here we go. At 50 megapixels, that's giving me 6,112 by 6,112 pixels at, now, I don't know what the DPI is. It's not showing me the dots per inch, but that is huge. That will fill an entire computer monitor screen. What that means is when I put it into the layout of the newsletter, I have to shrink it down. Now, when I compress images, they maintain full quality. If I have to try to make it bigger, it pixelates because there's no data in between those dots. So the program tries to extrapolate and tries to fill in the gaps, and it just makes pixels. It looks awful. So the bigger the picture, the bigger the file, the better it looks in print.
Yeah, and the best way to do this, Al, is to just take the picture in the default setting on your Android and then email it directly from your Android to Joaquin.
Right. That's what I do. Right.
Yeah, don't post it on Facebook, because if you post it onto Facebook or anywhere else, that's where the de-resolution
No,
happens.
I was just saying, when I was zooming in and I would have to move back, I was saying to myself, it just wasn't making any sense. So
Right,
that's,
yeah, because, yeah, all
Right.
you're doing there is just expanding or actually reducing the view of the camera and expanding the subject, but you're not changing the file size at all.
Right. Well, I mean, I wanted to ask that. Thanks.
Yep,
Yeah.
no problem.
So,
So Joaquin, can I ask a quick question? On an iPhone, you just want us to send you the large size?
Please.
Okay.
And if
got
you
it.
need to zip the files, email them, that's fine. That
Okay,
works. In fact, several folks send me zip files with 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 pictures. I can unzip them. They're full size, and and I get the full size image, and I can use them to do the layout. So zipping them is absolutely fine.
okay, perfect. Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
but you don't have to be that big, right?
My wife just pointed out, if you're confused, if you have any questions, just find one of my posts on the Facebook page and message my Watai Woodturning page, and I'll do everything I can to help you figure it out. Not here to make it harder. I'm trying to make it easier and make it look better for all of us.
Your typical cell phone is by default is already set at a 300 DPI or a little bit greater, just through default of taking a quality photo. So for the majority of folks, you should be good to go. Take your normal picture and then just, hit share, come up, share by email, editor@worldwidewoodturners.org, hit send, and it's done.
Yep.
Great explanation,
All right.
Joaquin, and good job on those eucalyptus pieces. And then the cracking that you have at the pith, that is atypical of pretty much every eucalyptus piece that I've worked with over the last 20 years, or at least all the eucalyptus that grows out here in the desert.
As far as I know, this came from Georgia. It came from Mark Soleil, so it came from a much more humid environment.
Yeah, they always crack here at the pith and between the heartwood and the sapwood.
They've been asking nonstop.
All right, good enough, Joaquin. All right, next up is Tom Kenny. What you got, Tom?
Hey, last year at SWAT, I watched Scott Hampton do a textured platter demo, and that flung a craving on me. It took me a year to get around to it, but I've done 3 of them now, and this is the 3rd in the series.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
It is.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
saw that.
think it's spalted sycamore, and it's textured with an Arbortech tool with a little 2-inch disc that's got 2 carbide cutters on it, and you start at the center and just slide it out towards the edge with the lathe running and the MIDI grinder running, and it creates that texture. It happens real fast, and then you have to kind of deburr it, defuzz it, because it does tear it up quite a bit. But that's the front side.
Beautiful.
I saw that on Facebook, Tom. That's gorgeous.
No, that
Right.
was the one you saw on Facebook, I think, was the camphor.
Oh,
I think this one is sycamore. I'm not for certain on it, but on my
this is
to-do list
different
this
than the
week.
one on Facebook.
How do you do that? How do you do the deburring, the defuzzing?
Just a moment. I have some of these plastic bristle abrasive brushes, and then I also have this style as a roll lock, and I just, with the lathe spinning slow, maybe 400 RPM, and this in a drill, I just work it over, and then I stop and hit the problem spots. There are certain areas of the grain are going to be torn up worse than others. But between those two
Same
bristle
grain.
brushes, that pretty much takes care of it.
Great, thank you.
Thank
What's
you.
the grid on the bristle brush?
This one is 150, and then the red one is 80, I believe. And they're also on clearance at Harbor Freight for $297. So I just picked up a couple extras. These Rolox apparently are made out of platinum or gold or something because they charge like $15 a piece for them. So, but they all work.
Thanks.
Well done,
Thanks,
Tom.
Tom.
Thank
Very
you.
cool,
Great
Tom.
looking
Super.
piece.
Beautiful piece.
Thank you.
All right, well, next up is Dane.
Oh, how about that?
Be ready,
Back.
Dane.
I was. It's right here. Right here. So here's the piece from last week's demo.
Wrong camera.
Camera.
I could switch the cameras if you want.
Nice.
I don't know which one looks better.
Good. Good. That is
There's
gorgeous.
the cap.
Yeah, that looks real
Bottom.
nice. That looks real nice.
Wow.
Wow, beautiful.
And all I did was I put another coat of boiled linseed oil on it, and then I finished it in Parfix 3408. So I got the nice grain match, the hidden spalting surprise.
That's awesome. Spalting is beautiful in any piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So your
Beautiful
finishing
piece.
is always amazing. I love your finishing.
Ah, well, thank you, Al. So coat of so I put another coat of linseed oil on it, wiped off the excess, and then just finished it by hand with coating it with Parfix 3408, which is medical grade type C8 you can get through Marc Soleil or Kurt Cap. Coated it with that, let it sit on there for about 30-40 seconds, and then wiped it off with a paper towel, and put the buffing wheel on, a little bit of Vonnex, put the sheen on it, and so it's good to go.
Wow.
And my daughter claimed it, so that's where it's going. So that's it for me. Thanks, guys.
Very cool. I would like to mention that we got a lot of folks on the list for gallery tonight, and we'll break it at the top of the hour for the demo, probably, Dane. Is that right?
Yes, we
But
will.
be patient. Be patient. I've written y'all down. We'll get to y'all at some point. So next up is Dave Kingsley. What you
Howdy.
got, Dave?
Well, I got a nice little, about an 8-inch cherry bowl.
Beautiful.
And right now I just got the first coat of oil on it.
Looks
That's
good.
it. And today I was out, I got extra shop time this week. And I tried a negative instead of a raised lip.
Nice.
I like that a lot.
Yes.
And what's weird?
What's your wood?
I
Is that
like that
elm?
shape. I
No,
like that.
this is cherry.
Okay.
Cherry.
That's
What's
pretty.
interesting is I did the inside little oil, and right here, actually this is shellac. These marks right here raised up something fierce. I'm gonna have to resand it. I don't know what it is. It's something in the wood because it goes all the way through.
Beautiful.
But that's
Very-
and that's
looks like almost looks like insects or something.
yeah, it could be. And then
Huh.
earlier, and those were both cherry, and I was able to do this out of locust. Ooh,
That's beautiful.
Honey
Put that
locust,
under a
very
black
pretty.
light yet?
yeah. Oops, gotta show off my laser work. But yeah, this is probably the biggest piece I've done yet. It's about 12.5 inches, almost 13.
Dave, have you put that under a black light yet?
No, I don't have one.
Oh, it's beautiful under a black light.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's pretty nice. What it is this is just Carnauba wax. Oh, there you can see the grain. Oh, this is just Carnauba wax. I sanded it to 1200 and then waxed it.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Really nice, Dave.
And that's all I got done for this week.
Size of that thing.
Good
Very
stuff.
nice, Dave.
Yeah, well, the thing is, my cousin, who has 38 acres of land, he showed up with, I think, 3 logs of locusts that were probably 18 feet long each.
Oh my.
And it's been drying now for 2 or 3 years, so.
Good for you.
I roughed it out and, yeah. It's tough to work with, though. Its stuff is, I mean, that's one reason it stands up so nice, because it's a very hard wood.
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah.
Very dense. It's hard to keep the ladies from walking until I get it more in balance. But pretty cool.
Right.
Thank
Very
you.
cool. Thanks, Dave. Next up is Dale Slaughter.
Hi, guys.
Hi there.
And this is the only thing I got to show today. It's another piece of box elder. Turned it green yesterday.
Mm.
It's about 4.5, maybe 5 inches across and maybe 2.5 inches deep. Turned it green to completion. Gonna let it do its thing. I know it's gonna warp and look all funny when it's done warping as it dries.
I like that though.
Sanded it to
Me
320
too.
grit. Finished it with Doctor's Wood Shop microcrystalline wax and walnut oil mixture, and then hit it with original Yorkshire grit and then the white microcrystalline wax Yorkshire grit. I think it's going to need a few more coats after it dries good, but I'm going to let it do its thing and dry out real good, and then I'll refinish it. But that's all I've got today.
Nice
I
job.
haven't been in the
Looks
shop
really
much
nice,
in the
Dan.
last few days because it's been too muggy around here. Today it was high of 86, but with the humidity made it feel like 96. And if I just walk from my chair in the living room back to the back of the house to the bathroom, and I'm drenched in sweat. So,
Wow.
Hmm.
and I think
Very
some of that's
cool.
one of my medications makes my body not deal with heat good. So I just haven't done much today.
I can
Very
understand.
cool. Yeah,
I
I've
feel
been
better,
fighting the
Dale.
same issue too. Nice job. Next up is
Well,
Doug
thanks,
Miller.
Phil.
Hello, everybody. It is
Hi,
good to
Doug.
see you tonight. Did something I don't always do. I did a practice piece for my demo that was yesterday. Here's my practice piece. Matt and Dane showed us, and well, Matt did the demo last week, and Dane showed his. The upside down mystery magical salt shaker. This one is walnut. And I did this one strictly from memory. It was kind of fun. It worked out fine. I actually did the cone first, and then made the top of the body out of what was left, and it came out pretty nice. It worked really well. My only problem was I used 1/8 inch bit, and that hole was just a little big. Plus, the top of my cone is quite deep, quite wide, and so it would collect a whole lot of salt and just kind of dump it. So anyway, yesterday I took a couple of minutes and skimmed through the video from last week that Matt did for us, and ended up doing this one where I did it more like Matt showed us. I did the cone first, or excuse me, did the body first, and then made the jam chuck so I could finish the top here, and then use the jam chuck to form the cone, and went down excuse me, went down the size of my drill bit, and that works quite a bit better. I'm still finishing that one. The walnut one has abrasive paste and wax. This one I've got walnut oil, 1 coat of walnut oil on it. I need to put several more and just let those dry good. And that's spalted fogwood. I have no clue what it is. Even after I turned it, I had no clue. Might be pear. but I'm not real sure. But anyway, that's what I've done this week.
Great.
Very pretty.
Very cool, Doug. Nice work.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's see. Sorry, wasn't paying attention here. Texting. Let's see. Let's go to Safety Sue. To get our safety on for the evening. Safety.
Hey there.
What you got there, Sue?
Hi, Sue.
How's it all going? So tonight I'm going to be safety conscious, but be proactive at the same time. We all have noise in our shops. Some noise is bigger than others. My lathe isn't that noisy, but my dust extraction can be a little noisy. When you're grinding, it's noisy. If you have like a 3.5 horsepower dust collection unit, those can be very noisy. Bandsaws can be noisy. So let's be proactive and try to stop the noise. You want to get earmuffs or some kind of ear protection that's, I don't know what the OSHA rating is now. I want to say like 28 decibels or 26 decibels. So wear your ear protection. But I read an article where this one guy, he decided to be more than proactive. And what he did, he's got a 3-car garage and converted it into a shop. And he got this 3.5 horsepower dust collection unit, and he built a closet around it because he didn't have an extra room to put it in. And what he did was the closet that he built, yes, there's doors that he can go in and empty it all the time, but all the way around it and on top of it is insulated from the inside. And then on the outside, he put some pegboard up so he could attach tools and stuff to his closet. But he said it really did help the noise from his new dust collection. Of course, now he thinks he would have been better putting it in the corner and doing a 2-sided closet, but you know, that's hindsight. What I'm saying, we're turners, guys. We all love to turn. But we're also woodworkers. Some of us are machinists. And some of us can fix just about anything that we think we can. And so think about ways of saving your hearing. Maybe insulating your dust collector. Maybe putting it into another room if you have the opportunity to do that. I have 2 dust collectors. One in my regular flat shop, which is a 1-car garage, and my lathe room is my Florida room or sun room. And the one in the garage is a fine, and I made a rack for it that was 2 by 2 feet, and then a rack, and then it's a thing on top to hold the 2 5-gallon pails for the Oneida extraction system. And that works well. I do wear ear hearing protection. It's not that noisy, but it's noisier than what I would like it to be. On my new shop, I traded myself there this year. Instead of buying a fine vacuum extractor, I bought a Festool vacuum extractor. And yes, I know that I could have gotten a bigger one cheaper, but folks, I don't have that much room out there. And Oneida has a dust collector or, chip collector that fits perfectly on top of that Festool unit. And it's black. It holds, 16, 20 gallons of junk if you wouldn't let it go that long. And it has bags that you can put in it and all that good stuff. What I'm saying is be proactive. Think about ways to make your shop quieter. I have ear protection over on every machine. Cause I'm one of these that I'm good at putting them on, then I take them off, and then I go to another machine and say, what did I do with my hearing protection? So, yes, I have them on all my machines. So, folks, dust collection, it really helps us for breathing, but it can be detrimental to our hearing. So, I'm just saying, be proactive and protect yourself. So take care. Have a great, great week. And I'm glad you guys had a wonderful time at SWAT. I wish I was there. And Eddie, I know that you had the time of your life. So good for you. Take care, everyone. I'll see you next week. Be safe out there.
Thank you,
All
Sue.
right.
Thank you,
All right,
Sue.
so
Y'all have
All right.
y'all have no idea how good it was to see Eddie back at SWAT. It made my weekend. Absolutely made my weekend.
I think it made my month. I couldn't talk before. I had to do some changes in my setting, but I was so excited to meet Eddie in person. I had followed him on Facebook for so many years. And my friend, one of the other gentlemen working in the booth, was so excited too. I thought he was going to knock me down so he could get over and introduce himself first, but it was wonderful to meet you and the boss or management.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
what else did you call her? Your wife, your boss, management, friend, nurse,
Honey.
honey, and next you could add chauffeur.
There you
Yes.
go.
All the above.
Oh, and dietitian. for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Good job, Dane.
Yep.
True. Yay.
Yes.
But
and she's
that
good,
was
and she's really good at all of it.
She really
Yes, she
is.
is.
a beautiful
Yeah,
person.
we're really glad.
The only thing I'm sad about was I was not smart enough to get a picture.
Uh-oh.
I know. Anyway, but
There's
I
a
got
couple more
pictures of
shindigs
other
gonna happen.
yeah, I got a lot of pictures and I'll send them to Joaquin and he can use what he wants. But I did get a lot of pictures of the vending area because that's unfortunately where I spent most of my time. There or the coffee stand because it was cold in there.
Yeah. All right, very good. All right, so we are pretty much at the top of the hour, so we're going to go to our scheduled demo for the evening. We have Mr. Kurt Kapp up. He's going to be demonstrating something for us. I'm even out in the dark on what's going to be done tonight. I'm sure it's going to be tantalizing and something very cool for us all to see one way or the other. So atypical of any demo.
Camera settings.
So any sorry, thrown off there. I am going to mute everybody. Kurt, you'll need to unmute yourself. If Kurt wants to sequester, I know, right, Billy? Kurt, if you want to sequester questions and comments from the gallery here, by all means, that's up to you to do so. Otherwise, folks, let's keep our questions and comments to the end of the demonstration. At that point, we'll have plenty of time to answer them. If you do have questions, put them into the chat. I will be monitoring the questions in the chat, and at opportune times for Kurt, when he's doing a tool changeover or there's something not really going on that I can ask a question, I will ask them. So at this time, I am going to mute everybody. Kurt, unmute yourself. All right, Kurt, all you.
Hey, we're there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sounds like a winner. I was torn between two different things. This is what we're gonna do tonight. One of these little pots. They're kind of fun. It's sort of I call it a beginner's way of hollowing, and they're a whole lot easier and faster to hollow than something big, where I was gonna do one of the little 3-corner boxes, but I figured this would be a little bit more entertaining. It's a little quicker to do as well. So where we start, it's a small log. It's, I think, 4.5 inches, 4 inches in diameter, something like that. So it's a little longer than the 4 inches, but we'll get it down to the 4-inch category. It is mounted between centers, as close to the centers as I can. There is no pin in the live center, so I still have the availability to maneuver this. It is in a straight plane on this end of it. So that goes back to the natural edge bowls that I like to do. So I keep that plane sort of flat as much as possible. This is a piece of walnut. It actually has been around for probably the best end of a year. So needless to say, the bark all falls off. So first place to start, face shield on, of course. Like I say, it's between center, spin it, it's gonna spin slow. It may or may not be out of balance. Some of these cooperate quite nicely right from the start. Some do not. But at any rate, we'll get rid of this corner up here to start with. And I try not to go up past halfway at this point. Not that it would overly matter. We're just kind of getting rid of some stuff that we don't want. And of course, we'll stop and look. This stuff actually has a little spalt or a little bit of spalting rot in it. We're just starting to flatten out the bottom a little bit. We'll switch that's a bowl gouge there that's just about seen its life expectancy. Seeing as how it's all the way to about 6 inches long. So now we have a little bit of a flat. Now we can look to see how much room we have, how much left we have over there on the sides. And if we want to, we can maneuver it a little bit. Except we're going to have to sneak in there and make that smaller. And just go to a spindle gouge so I can get in tight against it. Well, I'll probably have to chip it away a little bit so that I can maneuver this a little bit. Grab a chisel quick like. Because we have way too much on one side, so it's lopsided now as it sits. Take it off would be easier than sticking my fingers. Drop the chisel on the floor. Well, there's rubber pads there. Except the rubber pads will haunt you. It's a nice thing to stand on, but if you drop a tool on it, it bounces. And as I was telling, I've started teaching some classes at my local woodcraft, and I was telling those guys, I said, yeah, I said, it's nice to have the rubber pad. I said, right up until you drop a tool and it lands butt end down, which is good. But the business end usually lays against your leg and will slice you right quick. And yes, that is experience talking.
Never fails, right?
It never fails. The one and only time I actually did it wasn't even my tool. It was somebody else's from our turning club. And they wanted me to change the grind on it drastically. Now let's see where we're at. Taking there, we're still these. Still could go that way a little bit more. Can't go too much more that way. Definitely getting, I've moved the axis. Just sort of get rid of some material up there. The other alternative, I guess you could sort of leave this, I don't know, maybe you could leave some of that on, but they were pretty much halfway thereabouts. That's really all we need to get to. Yes, it is walnut, so I will probably be coughing. Walnut does not necessarily like me. You can get away with turning it when it's dry or when it's wet, but when it's dry, it doesn't always cooperate. We'll mark it Senate. Just do it with our parting tool. It's easier. I have a parting tool. I use Vicmark chucks. So I actually have a parting tool that has the dovetail right on it, which makes life a little easier. And make sure it's clean. In all fashions. And I use the spindle guides for that. Now we can give it a little bit more of a rounded bottom. So there, if we're happy with our shape, then that's good enough. It is tearing it up a little bit there. There's one alternative on that. I'm going to redo that tenon just a little bit. Problem with the wet walnut is it sort of wants to stand up or fuzz up some grain when you go across it like that. And that could cause me some problems with the chucking. So the other thing we can try, anybody and everybody's watching Richard Raffin, the man that loves the scrapers. Well, I will give it one thing. He does have a good point. If you take the time sort of to learn a little bit, they are a wonderful tool. But me being a cheap kind of a person, or I shouldn't say cheap, thrifty kind of a person, I'm not going out and spending hundreds of dollars. So if you go on Amazon, you can buy flat stock steel. That's fly cutters. This one happens to be 8 by 30, so 8 millimeters thick, 30 millimeters wide, a 200. It is a lot of grinding down here to get it to fit into a tang, but it does work. They do a nice job as far as cleaning things up. Because like on something like this sort of wants to be pretty clean right from the start down here. So if I flip it around in the chuck, and I guess if you're really so minded, you could actually sand that as far as that goes, but it's still standing up a little bit. So if we turn it up on its edge, and back across it a little bit. One thing I've learned when you're doing it with these is don't try and do a big area at one time. Because if you go to move your body a little bit to get your body out of the road, not nice things happen. Because those traditional scrapers, when they catch, or when they grab a hold of something, it is a serious grab. So get rid of the last little bit of this top and then we'll flip it around. Like I say, most of this is done from the bottom in the chuck. That's back down to the original plane. Now we'll flip it. This is the same as the piece earlier today I did. It's got a little bit, it's starting to decay. There's a little bit of spalding. It's sort of decaying a little bit on the outside, which is a nice look, but it also makes it more difficult to cut something, like especially like this, because once we get to this part of it, this top part, we're going to have multiple different directions that we're going to have to cut. Because when we start making the curve down in, we're going to have to go sort of the opposite what you might think you want to go in order to continue cutting downhill, put it that way. So we'll go with the bigger jaws. It's actually the bigger chuck. Don't need the big chuck for this, but that's the jaws that's on it. And we still look good. Zoomed in quite far, but that's okay. You get to see the bird's eye view, so to speak. Still sticking with the bowl gouge. We should now be in balance so we can bring the speed up to where we're comfortable. Get an idea about where we want to be down there. You can make these all kinds of different shapes. I'm not really going for that quite that shape. I like the try not to make the hollowing part any harder than it has to be. Take a peek because we're sort of too pointy. We also have a hole or a piece of bark here yet. So we got to get rid of a little bit of that. Get an idea how big we want this to be. Ideally, that's 1 3/8 hole. That's a nice size hole to go through. With the, I have bigger hollowing tools, so I don't go through a super small hole. Anyhow, I just find it to be a little bit too cumbersome. And of course, there's nothing says that we can't go to a spindle gouge and clean up the last little bit, which we probably will, and make this radius out here a little bit less pointy. So take a peek at her shape. Like I say, this stuff, when it's wet, and this is all this walnut that I had gotten, wants to do the same thing. I mean, it just kind of doesn't like to cooperate as well as what it should. It sort of tears some of it up, which is what it's doing right there. Of course, we're taking some fairly good cuts off of it, but it really shouldn't, being wet or sort of wet, it really shouldn't do that, but it does. The other thing we can try is go back the other way. Be more gentle. I mean, that's surface that's there is not, in my opinion, is not a sandable surface because there's too much torn grain. That helped it. So that would come out with 120 easily. Could be. So this stuff, this is sort of limbwood, so it does I don't know, Linwood always seems like it's more difficult to work with. Not to mention since it's sort of spalted a little bit. So that's a good indication that things are starting to go in the wrong direction. So we'll pick up the spindle gouge, see if that will usually makes it cooperate more so. Not to mention it'll allow us to get a nicer curve in the bottom. Let's see what it did. We probably still have an area there. Still a little bit there. But we're gonna call it good enough for this. Like I say, this is got more moisture in it than what I would have thought it would have. So this is gonna need a couple weeks, couple months to actually dry. And then I can come back and sand it at that point. You can actually sand it while it's wet too. That's one of the other things I learned from watching Richard, that sanding wet wood is not impossible. Different, but not impossible. So now we need a hole. Need a place for the drill bit to go, I should say. I'm not a fan of drilling with the spindle gouge. It's doable, but drill bit's easier. Figuring about there. Just a little speed
Moves
down.
that slow moving wood.
I make out all right doing it with a 3/8 spindle gouge, but the 1/2 inch one just doesn't seem like it cooperates very well. Just as easy to pick up the drill bit.
Right.
Than it is to have the issue.
Yeah, plus it gets rid of that, the center there that's hardly even rotating, so.
Right. So now, go back up to speed. Some of the hollowing we can do with our spindle gouge. Because we got to finish up this rim for starters. And I won't go real far in with the spindle gouge. Even though, once again, you certainly could go in and drag to the side. It'll work just the same. You won't be able to get real deep with the spindle gouge, although I've seen some people go quite deep with the spindle gouge. To me, it's just a little easier, a little safer to use the tool that's designed to do it, which would be the hollowing tool. This, I have actually I have two. I have the one from Lyle Jameson. If I could find somebody to sell it to, I probably would sell that one because it just collects dust. I went and took a class with Trent Bosch about a year or so ago. And his are much more friendly in my shop because my shop is small. So it takes a smaller footprint. So just go back in the hole, bring the handle to the side. It is pretty quick. Try to get the whole way to the bottom of the hole. When I drag a tool back, it will drag some of the shavings out, especially in one this size. Try and get some of that out of the side, out of here. And that's probably good enough for that part. Of course, if anybody does hollow forms, they know this is the most time-consuming part of the whole process. is to clean all the crap out of the hole. One that, like I say,
100%.
one this size, that's kind of why I pick on more on this kind of stuff, this size than I would the bigger ones. Although here lately I've done a couple of the bigger ones, but all you do is spend all your time stopping and cleaning the hole. And I get irritated with that. So now we'll go to the bent bar, and hopefully I don't rearrange the camera. And even though the bent bar is in a captured system, it's still, the curved part still needs to be in front of the tool rest. Otherwise, it does have, you will get a lot of vibration. Not that you're gonna do any real damage with these because it is captured. Of course, it's only one Allen screw actually holding that bar. So if it got enough momentum in there, why it could do some, could make life exciting. And it's usually not the excitement that you really want. His system is very easy to set up. It's set for a little bit over 1/4 of an inch. Somewhere thereabouts. Probably bring, his laser is a little bit nicer than, I mean, this is certainly not, I certainly wouldn't brag about somebody's product for that matter. He's the only person that I've ever taken a class with that does not give you any kind of discount because you came and took a class with him. I thought that was just kind of appalling in some ways, but that's what he does. So now we have the laser. Good, you're going to be able to see the dot. Okay. So now it's a matter of following the bouncing dot. And clean a little bit more out. This should, yeah, I think I've cleaned enough out in there. This, even though this bar is bent, usually you can actually get, once you get inside, you can actually get almost to the center or at the center, depending on the size of the piece. These do not like the speed though. His idea is that shouldn't be turning over 700 or 800 RPMs. I'm on more like 11 or 12 with these. And they just seem like they actually are a little less aggressive. So we're still just making room. Maybe should have picked a drier piece. Now the chips are not going to cooperate. The little one that I showed you, I did this afternoon. I hollowed that out in probably 15 minutes, something like that, because the chips were dry enough that they kept coming out instead of sitting in there. That'll work. Not that big of a piece. One thing you can feel in here with your fingers, at least for a little ways, if you go through the small hole, and then you're sort of hoping that you got the laser set in the right place. I have not gone through the side yet of one, but it will happen. Come on, Chip, come on. Let's go in behind some of it. As you can see, it starts to chatter. You get too many chips in there, the chips don't have nowhere to go. So they just bunch up. The next thing you know, it will lift the tool up off the tool rest, which then it becomes exciting. That's when things fly. It'd be just like cutting on, you know, it gets over basically on the other side of center. And you could use an air compressor, but my granddaughter is sleeping in the room right next to my shop, so I actually have to be pretty quiet, or I'll get yelled at. which is not unusual, but I told her that I would try and be very quiet tonight. It's sort of like just like doing a bowl that you want to do fairly thin or something like that. You need to come from the top and work your way down and not go back to the top. The other thing was, which was pretty good instructions, you don't try and pull that tool out while the machine's running. Stop it and pull it out, because you'll inevitably hit something on the way out and then you'll be irritated. Usually when I do this kind of stuff, instead of using the air compressor, which blows its chips and stuff everywhere, I just use my shop vac that has a very small hose and just reach in there and suck the stuff out. It's a 2-for-1 deal, because you're getting rid of the stuff inside and you're cleaning up your shop as you go. So that's kind of my philosophy on that. So we're hollowed the thickness down about there. Really feels like my depth hole should have been a lot deeper than what it is, because we're only down about there. So I might have to go back and use the straight bar a little bit. I normally use a straight bar just by hand. You certainly can use it in the captured system and the laser. Trying to get the chips to come out. They don't seem to want to cooperate. And when you're doing, this is basically would be side grain work. So these cutters are actually making shavings in here. As you can see, it's not dust that I'm pulling out, it's tiny little shavings. So they don't eject themselves overly well. We'll see if I have enough room. If you can get enough room to get in there, you can do the bottom with the curved bar. Now the wonders of working blind is you can end up sometimes making a very substantial cut. You can see the bar wants to shake a little bit from time to time. And that's just being sort of a little bit aggressive with it. Maybe not on purpose. But it's more the fact that you can't see anything you're doing. Once again, if you watch somebody that really, somebody like Trent or one of them other people that do a lot of hollow forms, I mean, they make it look really much easier than what it really is. I don't think I was able to actually get to the center. And that's an issue. Switch. I pulled that out of that. I use a short handle on this. I think he was talking about using like a 20-inch handle or something like that, but once again, he's in the business of selling tools. And I'm like, well, I don't want any of your handles. You're all metal handles. I'm a wood guy, so mine are all wood. So we have the platform on here. Can definitely move it a bit closer. So it's already set at the height because all these cutters are set the same. I'll watch because I can hit the tailstock with this cutter. Don't know. So just get back into the middle. And it will drill a hole. That I put underneath my, sort of put it underneath my arm. So my elbow's at the back of that tool, basically. So it can't, it really doesn't try and lift it out of my arm. This maybe you got super, super aggressive. That little bit of cutting, that really makes chips there. The curly Q kind that doesn't come out of the hole. So my trusty little piece of wire with some tape on it. A little slower than the shop vac or something such as that. But now, I don't want to get too carried away. Now we're actually down to where we need to be. These I have a tendency to leave a little bit thicker at the bottom. Probably should pull that a little bit to the side. It'll make it easier. Of course, now you got to go find it again. There it is. And then the tool rest over a little bit. Get too much of an angle. That's pretty much what I did in there was drill a hole. That hole was probably 3/4 of an inch wide, maybe an inch wide in there. And that's pretty much all I did. I didn't take any material out here originally. Now I took some out there. Now we can go back to our bent tool. Back it up a little bit. And we're good to go. A little bit more.
Getting some shavings in there.
It's well, and like I say, when I was out there at Trent's, he's like, yeah, you can do a side grain. When he had everybody sort of do a side grain one just to see the difference, the shavings just build up so quickly.
Yep.
That it's ridiculous in a way. And of course they're wet, so they're harder yet actually to even get out. This is my mistake. I should have picked a piece that was drier. If you do this in a piece that's dry, it's not as bad. So we're looking for the elongation of the dot. And that's pretty much generally is about where I stop. Once it becomes elongated, I try not to go down any further. Remember, I do have it set at 1/4 of an inch. I am going to go back in there with a scraper as well. And try and clean up some of the thread. The further down we get well, I was going to say, the further down we get, the less trouble we'll have with the shavings, but I lied. They all want to go to the rim. That's the only good part, except when they build up far enough, then as you saw, it starts to pick the tool up. Yes, to do one of these in any kind of size, to me, it's almost like watching paint dry. I've done a couple of them on my live streams. It's like I know very good and well I'm putting people to sleep. I'm like, that's all you get done doing is stop and cleaning the chips out. Stop, clean the chips out. The only excitement is if you get too thin and blow one up, then it's exciting, but we're just about there. If we're down to the bottom half, we definitely have to commend these people that are good enough to do this all freehand by sound and feel. I've done some very small ones in that method and didn't blow them up, but in the same token, I've done a bunch of Christmas ornaments the same way with a small globe and like 3/8 inch tools. And you get it to where you're just about done. Either they end up being too fat at the bottom, usually, or you go through the side and make them nothingness. But that's another scenario of practice, practice, practice. But I like my stuff to disappear. So things like Christmas ornaments for me are not something that goes by at a craft show very well. So I have a tendency not to do very many of them. I leave them for my father to do. Bring my tool rest over a little bit because now I'm going to come in at a pretty serious angle. You can see where that laser's at. We are very close to the center point down there. Once again, if it's not that perfect 1/4 inch the whole way down, there's nobody really gonna know. It'll be nice and light and almost no matter what you do, unless you make it really heavy down there. But you want to put some sort of a artificial flower or something in it, so you need to have a little bit of weight or it wants to fall over. The one we're clean out, I think we'll be good down at the bottom. Could have smaller fingers. I could get in there a little easier too. These things will the typical wet wood, it will distort. Surprisingly enough, I've done probably 6 or 8 of these like this. They'll get tiny little cracks from radiating out from the pith, but I've yet to have one of these crack in half, which is kind of surprising with having the pith in them. But it doesn't It doesn't seem to do anything really crazy. Because it'd be a real pain in the, you know what, to try and fill any kind of cracks if they got to be any size in there, because anything you put in there is going to run right straight through to the inside. Feels like I should do a little bit of work on this curve. This is also, for me, this little area right here is generally where I will go through the side of something if I'm going to. Laser says otherwise, but if you have a really nice gentle touch in some of those places, you can actually get it relatively smooth on the inside. Not that it really matters, because really nobody can stick their fingers in that far. The way my finger says, that's probably good enough in there. Get a bunch of these, more of these shavings out, and then we'll switch over to a big teardrop scraper. It's also on a curved bar. And you can go in there and clean up some of the stuff, and it does remove, you have to keep an eye on it, because it does remove more material than what you think it does. But one more handle switch. We really need to get another insert or two and make some more of the 5/8 handles. They seem to have enough stuff that I could use the 5/8 handles on. Get my laser, see if I can move this so that I don't bang into the camera. This is the teardrop scraper that we're going to use. And I want to rotate that a little bit. The one that I was working on earlier today, having trouble to get right to the center. So I rotated this around a little bit further. And this basically it's a traditional scraper. I mean, it's not a negative rake. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be grabby. I will tilt it over a little bit on its side, just a little bit, not a big tilt, not like you would something else. But once again, we have to be back far enough, definitely with this, so that the curved part is over the tool rest, because I will come the whole way back up to the top. We'll go down and we'll hopefully get across the middle with it. If we don't get across the middle, it's not a giant size loss. Just a slight tilt over. Basically make one nice swooping pass across that. And you get the whole way down. Pencil touch. And that should have the top 2/3 of it done. This comes out as really big shavings. This does not come out as dust. It creates shavings in there. And you can see the amount that I'm pulling out with my finger. That's a lot of shavings for all the more that I cut. Now we get the adventure of moving forward a little bit with the tool rest. Less overhang, the better, to the point of beyond the curve. The hard part for me is always getting to the very center. Cause I want to sweep a curve, because I know that's a little bit thicker in there. You may get just a little bit of chattering if you're pushing too hard on it. Just want it to be gentle, gentle. That should be pretty much it. Still a tiny little bit in the center, but I don't get too alarmed at that. If you really, really wanted to, you could stick a 1-inch sanding disc in there once it's dry and actually sand around in that very bottom where somebody can look in it and see it. But there's always the pesky wood turner that's going to do this though. They're going to stick their finger in, see how thick it is and see how smooth it is. So you can reach in there if you're so minded or so willingness. You can reach in there with your fingers. You certainly could take a piece of sandpaper, normal sandpaper. I wouldn't wrap it around my finger. My train of thought on that would be, I have some sticky back sandpaper from the woodworking days, but I only have 150 and 220. I just cut a little strip. It sticks to my finger. Then I can just use my finger. Your finger feels everything. My fingers are fairly long, so I can get in there as far as my finger will reach and stay in 150, 220 and call it a day. This up here at the very rim, I'm going to make nice and smooth, but the rest of it on down through there, you know, have at it. If you're so minded, any problem. They make some really expensive calipers to reach in there. Mine are actually big for that, but we can try it because it feels like we're thick down there. We're probably almost a 1/2 inch thick right in through there. So maybe we'll take a little bit more out of that and then we'll call it a day. I'll show you what it looks like to sand something wet. Because I even power sand wet. And it will change tunes if you start to get thin, even if it's wet wood. If you start to get thin, it will change sound for you. It feels better. See how far we can reach with these. There's still a little bit on the thick side down in there, but it's good enough for now. For that, like I say, it'll be a little heavier in the bottom, which won't hurt anything. Oh, I knew I had sticky back sandpaper. This is some Miracle Gold, where you can just stick it to your finger. It sticks fast. Get things out of the road. Get some of the chips out of there. I mean, you certainly could put it on something to hold it, but it's sticky back sandpaper. So it's really quite easy to reach around the corner because your finger just follows the contour. Or if you try and do that with regular sandpaper, it just wants to run away from you. Or the stickiness, just that little bit of stickiness makes it stick to your finger. And that's how I would sand the inside of it, as best as I can. I can't believe that nobody has ever, I've never seen anybody come up with any bright ideas on how to actually sand the inside of things like this. Most of the people that you talk to that do hollow forms are like, well, I don't sand anything inside. They don't need to look inside. Okay. But that's their opinion.
Through
Everybody
that.
has their opinions. We can give the outside just a quick little sand. I'm not gonna sand much, just to show you that it does sand quite well, actually. It will sand normally in reverse, which is what we're gonna do. About 600 RPM, so I got 120 grit sandpaper on there. I'm not gonna make a ton of dust. But if you're to take the time and effort to do that, and those places that the grain was stood up are pretty much gone. Tiny bit left down in there yet. But it cleans it up really nice and neat. You can sand the whole, I've sanded some of these the whole way up through like 600 or 800 grit sandpaper. Throw them in a paper bag, let them dry for 6 months or whatever, come back out, and then you just, all you do is a little bit of hand sanding to them, just to take any of the little fuzzies that stood up, and you're good to go. So it's, I mean, I've never tried any that were really super sopping wet, but you know, at this wetness, why they work just fine. The only thing left to do on something like this, just set this off to the side, would be to take the bottom off eventually. Which there again, there are multiple ways that you could do it. I helped at my local woodcraft store, since now I'm sort of a part-time employee of theirs since I teach classes. But I helped with a class with Alex Snodgrass, the master of the bandsaw. And this is what he pulled out of his pocket. He says, you never lose this pencil because you just take a little rare earth magnet, some shrink tubing, put it around your pencil. It's got a magnet on it, so it sticks to everything, sticks all over the place, and everything is metal. So I thought it was a pretty simple and good idea myself. So I did get a bunch of shrink tubing. And did a fair amount of them. Oops, so this one is actually small enough. No. Shoot. I'll solve that problem. This hole is smaller than the one I did earlier today. I like this size hole better. The one I did earlier this afternoon actually got a little bit too big, hole wise. Does make it easier to hollow, but it also doesn't lend to doing the other things that you may want to do with it. Get that off. Yes. So we'll just reduce the diameter of it quickly. Everybody's favorite tool to hate, of course.
No hate.
I can do pretty good with it for doing certain things. Even to the point where one of the classes I do is basically a beginner's class. And I do make them use it to do just this, to make a piece rough from squared around, which I think is quicker and easier than it is to use a spindle roughing gouge as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
May not give me a great finish, but for me, one of the things that I do at this time of year, I should have already been working on. Well, that sucker's not even long enough. Ooh. is make Christmas trees. And these are Christmas trees that are to be painted. My wife is a decorative painter. There's some friends of hers said last year, you should make these and we'll take them to this show that they were going to, and we'll sell them for you. Okay. I made, I don't know, 15, 20 of them. That's about how long they lasted sitting on the table. These women are
Nice.
crazy when it comes to painting. And all I do is turn them. There is no sanding, no finishing. It's all spindle work. So all we have to do is put that, we're basically going to put it back in between centers. Slow the speed down, and it spins relatively true. True enough. I mean, that's true enough right there to be able to finish sanding that. Take the tenon off. The tenon I will only get down to, like I did with the little one. It's generally what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to take it down to about that size. And I'll just take the whatever Dremel or the Fordham, and I'll grind that last little bit off. It is going with the grain. I could take a chisel. My experience with doing them with the chisel, a lot of times the grain's not running the way you think it is, and next thing you have more work. You could just put a 2-inch disc in and sand that off too in a matter of a couple of seconds. But that's it. That's all they are. And it's they're, like I said, it's pretty simple to do. It doesn't take the super high-tech hollowing. You're going to need some sort of a bent tool, whether it be one of the carbide tools or one of the captured systems. As far as I'm concerned, the hollowing, the captured system is the way to go if you can, but it just makes life easier. But there's nothing says that you can't get a 3/8 or half-inch hollowing tool, because I do have some of them that are handheld. I could put them, actually could put them in the hollowing system. There's one that's a 3/8 inch bar. I just put that in a handle and just have at it. You know, you want to make the hole either like doing Christmas ornaments or something small, that you just, play with it and figure out what sound it makes when it starts to get thin. So that's it.
Well done, Kurt.
Beautiful.
That was a great demo.
Yeah, great demo, Kirk.
Really
Anybody have?
That was it.
Well, it was. Hey,
Does anybody have any
Thank you very
questions?
much. It was good.
Go down. Can't all talk at one time.
Right? Any questions?
That camera is like crystal clear. One of the best we see in these demos. What kind of camera you have?
It's two different ones, to be quite honest with you. The one that's looking down in that direction at my hand, that is a Sony camcorder. I don't know if I can remember what the model number is, and I can't see it. That one's looking down. That one, of course, has your digital zoom in and out. The one that's looking from back here, which is actually behind my lathe, that is one of the OBSpot meets. It's a cute little camera. I mean, I was impressed with, that's actually a 4K camera. And it has zoom on it too. It's just, I've never messed with getting another little keyboard. So I think I can control that one with a keyboard, but it's sitting underneath my lathe is a cabinet. So there's a flat bench right behind me, and it's sitting on a pedestal. So I just move that one around. It actually has better color and better clarity than what the video camera has. Because if you look at the difference, this sort of looks yellowish here, where that one is showing that it is bright white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Wow.
My son-in-law makes me
Outstanding.
spend money.
Ah,
Hey, Kurt,
Yes.
can you show that tool?
Which one?
The one that you've been hollowing with the
swan neck.
right.
Okay.
Can you show it with one of these cameras? There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I'll go to that one. Get a couple things out of the road and then we'll zoom out. Get rid of that. The last one I used would be that one. Go out.
One of the teardrop scraper.
That's a teardrop scraper.
Right.
Okay. First one was a hollow. Now, let me take it out of the handle before I notch.
Well, I'm talking the one about with the
Patience, Al, patience. He's been going
Patience.
through showing each of them.
Patience. Okay. There's where we started. Straight bar. Nothing more than round bar that's tapered up front. Quarter, I think it's a 1/4 inch cutter that he puts in them. A lot of people say the 1/4 inch cutters are too aggressive. Most people want to go to 3/16. This one can be a little aggressive in some ways. Let's see if I can see if we can get this whole thing in the camera. Might have to take my chuck off to do that. Be easier. It'd be easier if I do that. So that's you can see most of it. Anyhow. So this is really the business end. This he gives you get the collar with it. It actually has a stop collar on there. So you set that stop collar to your lathe, your tool or your tool post. And as you saw, all I did was bring it over, plop it in, and I'm ready to go. That's the part that that's one of the things that I really liked about it.
Intuitive.
So it's very simple. It just slides across this tool rest. Everything is adjustable. Solid bars for the laser. I know there's some of them out there that use some sort of a hollow tubing, so you get more vibration up here on the laser. I'm not sure what for laser it is that he gets it, but as you saw, it has two different axes on it. That if I turn these there's two little Allen screws on either side, and it will move it quite a ways. Rather than some of the systems, you got to unloosen the bar, move the bar from side to side, front to back. I mean, you're going to have to move this front to back depending on what you're doing, if you're doing something different than what I was doing. Right. But it is, I don't know. I like it. I mean, it is expensive. I mean, and you know, none of them are cheap.
No.
But yeah, I like it. The only
then show the swan neck.
I watched that dot.
That is
I
the
was on
swan
the
neck
edge of
right
my
there.
seat.
Oh, you've already got it. Okay, right on.
Yeah, like I say, I very seldom have ever put the straight one. The only time I put the straight bar into the captured system so I can use the laser would be like maybe at the very, very bottom of that. If I didn't feel I was getting a good enough cut or sweep with it, then I could put that in and do the very bottom of it. If the piece is, the bigger the piece goes diameter wise, then the swan neck, you can get beyond center, or at least get right to center with the swan neck and literally come straight across.
Right.
But
Hey, Kirk,
sir,
can you put that in your tool rest and show us without anything on it how it actually works?
without anything on it. What do you mean by anything?
Without any wood, just kind of show us how it moves.
Okay. Like I say, when you put it back in, once you set it, as he would put it, you set it and forget it to your lathe. This will only pivot so far because there's actually a bolt that goes through here, but it's pretty much level or straight across anyhow is where you want it to start with. You lock that down and slide over that way a little bit further so we get the whole thing in the camera. So it's just two pivoting arms. This one back here is a solid piece of steel, two pieces coming up here. I don't remember. I don't think there's actually bearings in it. I don't remember. There's a giant size bolt that comes through from the bottom. They move very, very freely. That you don't have any concern with. And as you're working along, this is sort of compresses to one side. You can actually go either side. It doesn't really make any difference to it. And it will rotate quite a ways around. It'll rotate, it'll come the whole way around till it meets the tool rest, which I don't know why you would never have a need for that, but
Thank you.
it's very simple to set up, very simple to use. And there's, you know, Trent sells them. There's other people that sell them. I personally, I mean, I like the laser part. I mean, that's sort of, I went out and took a class with him. I guess it's almost 2 years ago, something like that. And, you know, that's kind of why I wanted to go out and take a class with him is, you know, granted, I spent more money to take the class than it would have cost just to buy the thing to try it. But, you know, this way you got some insight on, you know, how to use it, how to set it up, and, you know, follow the bouncing ball on the laser, or you go super first class and there's, I don't know whether he would tell you what they are, but he also will put a little camera in there, and then you hook that camera up to a small monitor. You draw a little, you would draw he calls it a visualizer. You would literally take a dry erase marker on the monitor itself and draw a circle or a half moon around this. And as you go inside, you would look at the monitor and it shows you right where the tip is at on the inside. It's kind of, it's different. I didn't try while I was out there because I had no interest in that. I wasn't going down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
Kirk, when you were setting that up initially, you had a little jig out there that you were using when you were setting up the 1/4 inch. Could we see that again?
Sure.
And is that part of the tool, or did you make that's okay? That's part of the tool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What you get with it. So this is his bright idea. In order to hold it, rather than trying to hold the card, he said, just take a card and slide it underneath the tool. That way it stays there. So if you turn the laser on, and you can see the dot, you can see the dot really well if I turn that light off. No.
Yeah, that's fine.
But at any rate, the dot's out here. It doesn't show up. There's too much bright light to show up. But there again, these little sets, little Allen screws up here, it moves it all around without moving the bar. So when I originally put it together, I just put the bar about where I thought it should be. And then there's enough range in here that it moves it way out. So I went from 1/4 of an inch, which would be in here, out to 3/4 of an inch out there, and never touched the top bar. So it's, like I say, I don't know what the laser is, but it's kind of like worth its weight in gold as far as I'm concerned with the lasers, just by the fact of not having to loosen things up to move that a tiny little bit. It does take like 3 of the little, I don't know, whatever they are, like they're not watch batteries, but they're other ones. But you know, there again, I'm like, that's one of the things I said to him. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be taking stock in batteries. He said, no, you're not. He said, they last a long time. And he said, not to mention, he said, go on Amazon, you buy 100 of them for like $15. So I'm still working on the first 100. So.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This has been awesome.
Kurt, can we see the covers on your shoes?
That was amazing.
They're all
Thank you.
dirty. They're all dirty. There's also pins. There's quite a bit of stuff that comes with. There's pins so that you can't drop off the side. There's also other cullets that would be 1/2 inch bar and as well as a 3/8 inch bar. But as soon as you switch them, then you got to move the tool rest. It loosens up. That actually will slide up. So this needs to be sitting level and on the tool rest, so it doesn't shatter. You like my shoe covers. Get this out of the road. That's all they are. They have Velcro on them. They are some sort of a nylon material or something or other. Some lady down in Florida makes them and sells them.
Looks like a baby bed.
Exactly. Anybody that I showed it to, I'm like, that's a baby bed. I'm like, well, there
Yeah,
you go.
right.
You know somebody that sews, you get them. They're worth their weight in gold if you are like me and wear shorts in the shop, because I don't have shoes full of sawdust. So yes, I like them. They're well worth it. Even like to go out and do, I don't know, I'm not always good at that one, but if you wanted to use them to go out and do like yard work, if you wanted to wear shorts to weed whack or something like that, that way you don't get so much crap in your shoes.
How do you keep the weeds off your legs?
Well, that you don't, but at least you don't
Okay.
have them in your shoes. My weed whacker is one of the sort of older ones that's got a really long straight bar, so I really don't get
Yeah.
covered in now. So
Right on.
that's it.
Well, that was a great demo, Kurt. Hats
Any
off
other
to you.
any other questions?
Great
That was
job.
that was very pretty. The piece turned out great.
Well, I'll show you.
I
I'll
like
show you
where you're
something.
going with it.
And there again, it's simple, small wood. It's limb wood, so you can get that all over the place. You know, just to try it and see whether you like doing it. Here is
Sure.
a piece. Since I didn't do any show and tell, this is the last one I did, which was actually like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It is hollow the whole way down
Very nice.
to about 1/4 of an inch. This
What kind of wood is that?
Cypress.
Cypress. That's pretty.
It started with an M. I guess there's multiple different kinds, but the guy that I get some wood from at our turning club, he brought this big chunk in. He says, "Here, take it home and try it." Like, okay. Well, and he says cypress is like a sponge. You want to talk about that little bit of tear out in that piece of walnut because it was wet. This stuff is just brutal. I couldn't do anything to avoid any like torn grain in it. It's that soft. And it just,
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, it took all the way to, I was farting around. I'm like, well, let's see what the sandpaper will do. And I sanded over and I'm like, well, we're not going to fart around trying to resharpen tools and try and make lighter cuts, do all that stuff, because it sanded in about 2 seconds flat.
Oh, well done.
Wow.
Yeah. Thinning on top of it
Great looking piece.
and a hole in it.
It truly
A
is.
hole in it.
It's got to have a hole in it.
Yeah.
That hole is beneficial though. Believe it or not, that hole was actually beneficial. Now that was done, that's long grain. So you're hollowing into end grain so that you don't get the big fuzzy chips. You actually get more powdery kind of stuff out of it.
Right.
So once you got down to the hole, half of them come out of the hole.
Right.
Crap flying everywhere, but some of it come out of the hole and you spent less time cleaning chips out, but
Good
that's
stuff.
about
All right, Kurt. If no one else has any other questions or comments for Kurt, I'm going to swing it back to Captain Eddie, see what he thought about everything that just took place here. But once again, thank you very much, Kurt.
Yep.
I thought it was really great. Thank you, Kurt. Really, really good. And look, somebody asked, how do you adjust and all this and work? Well, let me tell you something about hollowing tools, and this is going to sound really way off. When you get it, don't hollow with it. All right? Got it? Cut with it. Understand how it cuts. Just chuck up a piece of wood and start making a bowl using it. You're making a bowl, but it's inside of something. So learn how it cuts. Learn how it pulls. Watch it. Put it at the right speed. Go in and make the right cuts. Learn the right twist or the right angle. I call it the bias. Most cutters cut better on a slight bias. And adds a little bit of tip on it. Some don't. Some like to be cut flat, but it's your preference. But play with a little bit on without being inside of something so you can actually watch what it does and you can grow with it. You'll understand it better. And then when you put your hand over it, you can't see it. You will understand what it's doing. And putting some reference marks on the top of the bar to let you know what is vertical, what's cocked, what lines up and all that. That helps you out too when you go for resets. And the laser that he was talking about the batteries and lasers. I don't remember changing batteries in my lasers. You don't use them for that long of a period to run those stack of batteries down. And if you do, you're really going slow. But and pick them up on Amazon. I got a drawer full of different sizes of just for that reason. And it was another one of those website things. I don't remember the name of it, that way you can buy those things, all that exit merchandise. So, but this was a good demo. It really was. And I'm glad you folks asked some detailed questions about how things work and got a little advice on it. And remember, what he did just now can be done with other tools and other ways. That was a technique that he prefers to use. And he feels good with it. If you saw it and you said, wonder if I could, just think about the things that you could do with it. But also think, I could go ahead and drill a hole, the force in a bit and get and that's nice, but, and there's always the but. And for me, most of the time when you tell somebody to drill something with a force in a bit, they don't realize that bit has touched anything except that piece of wood you're cutting on. It's probably a little bit dull. It's going to generate some heat. Don't want that on a piece like that. That's your enemy. So smaller cutters he was talking about take the sweeter, nicer cuts. And what are you doing? Racing? Beautiful work. Great demonstration tonight. Folks, will remind y'all or tell you about this if you missed it. Level Up is coming up. Yep, that's Level Up. Was going to be in September 2026. We're going to be in Wisconsin, and we're going to have a great time. It is our first hands-on demonstration gathering together with all the members of the Worldwide Woodturners. And everybody in the entire world is invited. It is a one-of-a-kind, not the only, it's just a one-of-a-kind event. Multiple turning stations, multiple demonstrators, chances to be hands-on with demonstrators, a whole lot of fun, and it's going to be with family you like. So that's coming up, and as it develops, and remember, this is being developed by our members. Our volunteer members are putting this package together. And that's why it's taken 2 years to put it all together, because it's going to be on a paved highway when we get there. I mean, we're going to run under an oak tree to do this. We're going to do it right. But when we get there, it's going to be perfect, to be the way you want it. Oh, if you didn't see it today, the brand new edition, it's today's edition of our newsletter is available on our website today. Yep, right there. It's on there. Master Webmaster. Remember this thing? We have the world's greatest wood turning website. It's not even a competition with the others. We have all the information there. That newsletter is there. Great stuff. Fantastic art. I mean, I went to SWAT last week. Y'all know that I'm bragging about it. So we had fantastic time. We ruled the place. But I saw art. Fantastic art. That quality of art is in our newsletter every other week. Yes. Two things. If you have a piece that's worthy of you to show it to us on our meetings, it's worthy to be in our newsletter. So send a photograph to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org. That's number one. Number two, do you have a photograph of something that happened at SWAT this year, 2024? Yes. Send that to the editor. Yeah, he wants to do a little splash. Look what I'm talking about. Joaquin does not do a little splash ever. So if you've got some photographs of what happened at SWAT, send them on to him. We had a ball, and we want to live like that. We want to have all those things. So there you have it. We have a great meeting, a great demonstration, a fantastic website, a newsletter you can't beat. It's all right here, worldwidewoodturners.org. And every week we do gallery. We stopped a little while ago to do that great demonstration with Kirk. We're going to go back to gallery right now. And if you got something to show, you put it in the chat. I have something to show. Our gallery master will call your name, introduce you. And when he does that, padoop, like voila, that's French for padoop. Voila, it's your show. All right. So let's
Right on.
padoop.
All right, sounds good, Eddie. I think we have a question from Lonnie Widener. Lonnie, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, do you guys have any advice for a beginner that wants to shoot a video for editing software? What is everybody using that's pretty beginner friendly?
I would defer to Bob Renstad using KineMaster. Bob, if you would like to facilitate this answer for one of the answers, please.
Sure. I use KineMaster or KineMaster, KineMaster. It will go on any cell phone, an Android or an iPad. Very easy to use. I've used several others in the past, and I had a lot of trouble trying to learn it. This is very simple, very easy to learn, very few actual, commands. I mean, it has the whole, whole ball of work that you need, plus some, but I don't get into all that. They're very easy. It's easy to take clips of cell phone, off your cell phone, put them in this, it's still on your cell phone. I think they now have a version that may be on the PC. I don't know, but it's too easy just to keep everything on the cell phone. You make little clips of what you want and open this up and drop them in. You can move the clips around, cut and paste, splice, whatever you want to do. Add the audio, but it's real easy to use. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Bob has made a bunch of super fantastic demonstrations for us that he plays back off his camera and or his computer for demos on a Wednesday evening here, and he's just done a fantastic time with it. And I know Spirit Wood Stone, aka Heather, she uses it also out of Canada, and she wouldn't use anything else other than KineMaster. So outside of that, for a really good, sorry, I didn't catch the rest of it. Throw in bone, Spirit Wood, Stone, and Bone, Heather. Try to get you to talk, but you're being bashful. So I'll do the talking for you. And then beyond that, I know that there's several other programs out there. And there's Cyber Direct. Oh God, hold on a minute. What's the name of it? I've got it here, but I don't use it. I've got CyberLink has a really good program. It's easy to, it used to be easy to figure out how to do. I used to do videos years ago on something else with accounting and finance for training courses at work. But I haven't picked up the full on doing editing for videos. But there's a mirror that you could pick that say they're free out there. Grab one, try it, see what you like. My recommendation would be to start with KineMaster and then go from there, Lonnie, and see how that works for you.
Sounds good. I'm assuming there's probably some tutorials online for that.
Yes. Yeah, and there's YouTube videos on it as well. Yep. By KineMaster.
Sounds great. Thanks for the advice.
Okay, and then you can always reach out to Bob Grinstead. He'll be more than happy to help you as well. I know he's offered many times to get me going on it. And then Kurt Cap, he's saying CapCut is really good as well. So you got plenty of resources here within the group also. Just don't call me on it because I'm not proficient on it anymore.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
And Lonnie, we all want to see the video. Don't worry about production value. Get us some video.
I just want to make a little short video that I can show, have running at a at a market shop, so it can kind of show from tree to table, kind of
Sure.
cutting the tree down, throwing it on the lathe, processing it, and then
Right.
something that is probably 5 or 6 minutes that'll just keep replaying. So
Put it on a
that's
loop.
my goal.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we look forward to see what you wind up doing, and then you can show it to us as well.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, Matt, let's get back to gallery. Who we got for gallery? We want to, and folks, we want to try and plow through the gallery because we got about 40 minutes left. So, Matt.
You ready to stop in and say, do more gallery?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, the first up we've got is Al. But he needs to put his camera on. What do you think, Al?
Night, Kurt.
Hello, everybody.
Yep,
What a thing
here
to
you go.
go and I have to follow that. Isn't that what we say? Crazy. One thing, first of all, talk about all these phones. Right now I have my phone here horizontally. Is the picture this way better, or is it this way better?
That way.
This way. So, for other people, right now I stood it straight up. Okay, that's good. I don't know if anyone saw what I put on Facebook the other day. That vase that I been soaking and trying to bend and stuff like that, and all the bending. We talked about that last week, but it was dark brown. It was like that color right there. And I have some kind of contamination on this last piece of polyurethane. I think it was like about this much left. I don't know what I did with it, but here it turned it completely white. I don't know how the heck it happened. As more I look at it, I kind of like it, but I don't know I don't know what happened. I put some polyurethane and I cut it. I think if you guys saw, I cut it with mineral spirits, and I don't know what happened to it, but it turned white. But I don't know. It's just something to talk about. If anybody wants to know or can tell me why it happened, I'm not.
I can't tell you why it happened, but it does look cool.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good too.
Did you use mineral spirits that are low?
I used the mineral spirits and I cut it just about 50-50 with wipe on polyurethane.
Yeah, but
Not white wine,
was the
but-
mineral spirits white in color when you poured it in there, or was it the clear version?
You know, that's what I'm finding out now, because this next thing that I'm going to show you, I could see the same thing on the bottom. I'm getting these like, I don't understand.
You're using polyurethane that has the low VOC content, and you're using an oil-based polyurethane with a mineral spirits that shouldn't be mixed with oil-based products. It's a water-based.
Yeah, I figure. I mean, I'm contaminating one of these things here, and
Yep,
that's
it's your mineral spirits. Try mineral spirits that's not for enamel paints. Oil-based mineral spirits you want.
All right, good. Thanks, Scott. What I was going to show, I've been making these things. I'm sure you guys have been seeing, like every other couple weeks, I'm making another one, and maybe you're saying, well, hey, he keeps showing. Look, I think that grain was
phenomenal.
really good.
It's gorgeous.
Great job, Al.
Again, it's the wood. It's the wood. Now again, I've been telling you guys that, I mean, I don't sell my stuff or anything like that. I give it away to friends, or now to just make sure that, I mean, I want to let you guys know that I've made, I think, 6 of those. Can you see?
Yep.
Yep.
There, hopefully
Busy.
I could make, I have 7 more, I have 7 more, pen, not blanks, but 7 more, what do you call it? Things to make them with. I've got pens,
Very nice. Slim, the slim line.
I take everything, to the police departments. I have 4 police departments here in town. I have local, I have city, I have county, I have state. I know that's really pretty, maple on top and the walnut on the bottom.
Mhm.
The others were Siberian elm, I think they were, yeah. But I have 7 more kits to make. I'm gonna have 10 of those. Those are all going to have about the same many of that sitting over there. What I'm trying to, make sure I get everything squared away this weekend for Memorial Weekend, Labor Day weekend. And that's what I do with my stuff. My stuff, believe me, I swear I get $1 million for every piece. I swear I get $1 million. I go over and I park in the police parking lots and stuff. My wife is with me. She has a RAV4, and I have all this stuff all laid out. And I open up the tailgate. Within 5 minutes, believe me, a hero comes by and says, "Sir, can I help you?" I said, "Well, you know what? Actually, you can." And I show them my stuff. I'm going to tell you something. The look that I see is probably worth $1 million.
Oh yeah.
You would not believe the look that they give me when I say, "Would you like to have something?" And they just look at me like, it's we have to take care of our first responders, believe me. In the past I've done this. They're all young, military, I mean crazy, I mean the best. And what I find is they want to have like a change purse. Now they kind of like, the little night light that they could put on, somewhere, probably the bedroom store, hopefully something like that. But that and a pen, like, what we know is always great to give. They always like, they'll take this, and as they're walking away, they give me like a go ahead, and they'll put this down somewhere. But I'll tell you what, my stuff isn't that good, and my finishes are horrible. But I'll tell you what, the look that I get, it's priceless. It's priceless.
Hey,
Nice
Alan,
job, Al. Thanks.
somebody online or on chat asked to know what kind of wood you're making your candle.
This here, it's red bud. A fella down in Northern Virginia, a tree went down in my club a couple years ago. I have 2 more blanks like this, and I've been making them and making them and making them. And I got a kick out of it. Yeah, it's red bud. It's red bud. It's kind of cool looking. All of it, I think it is. But anyway, if you're giving things away, you'll have a blast going to one of the police departments, sitting in a parking lot, and you will not believe the look that you will see from somebody that's like got something going on, and like you just like calm them down. I'll tell you, it's really great. But anyway, so I hope everybody has a good evening. The demo was fantastic, just fantastic. Eddie, again, thank you so much for Wednesday nights. And again, it looks like you probably should not have paid for that doctor appointment yesterday, because anybody could have said, yeah, something happened to you. It was pretty cool. You look really good. You had fun. So everybody have a good night.
You too,
Good
Al.
stuff. Thank you, Al. Who we got next, Matt?
Next up is Gary from Oklahoma.
Gary.
What you got, Gary?
Hello. Okay. This is the time of the year when people that have bees are probably getting their honey off their hives. So I had jarred up some, and I needed a honey dipper. So this is the first one that I had made. And if I remember right, talking or listening to Matt, he said something about making sure the bottom was flat so that it will sit even on something flat. But I need critique of the shape because I have never even used a honey dipper, even though I've got bees. For those that have used honey dippers, should I have some rounding? I need some critical critique, I guess you might say.
So on my honey dippers, I always make them tapered, and I find that to work because when you actually stick your honey dipper into your honey and you bring it back up, the honey actually flows off of it instead of sitting inside the square slots that are typically done. Martin Clarkson, he also teaches that as well with the honey dippers that he does over in the UK.
So in other words, this portion here should be slightly rounded.
Should be tapered.
Tapered.
Should be tapered. All your wafers should be tapered. And then that'll allow the honey to actually flow off of it instead of you having to turn it sideways and trying to get the honey to shake off of it.
Like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Shaped like a bottom of a barrel.
Upside down.
I think that
Street.
I think that Martin.
Think of a 1950s flying saucer, tapered.
I think that Martin also told us that he has better performance when his tines are not square, but they're rounded also.
So another
They're
rounded,
beads.
but they're tapered. They come to a taper. They're not just square. You know, you're just not just
Right.
going in with your parting tool and calling it done. He actually takes his skew and makes it like a flying saucer on end for all the wafers.
Okay.
He rounds all of them like that. All his little wafers.
Okay.
But he said
I was thinking about trying okay, go ahead.
I said, Martin said that he tapers it from the top, not, so that it flows down.
Right. So
okay.
This one here has a smaller diameter than the first one at the top.
Right. But what I'm talking about is your where you're putting your parting tool. Those tines are supposed to be tapered down.
Right, all of them are like a saucer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Figure a miniature Christmas tree that's been ovalized.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And I have not put any finish on this time. I'm thinking honey bees that tried and true original would probably be somebody even asked, okay, well, it's hydrolyzed linseed oil and beeswax.
Sure. Yeah,
so what are
it's got VOCs in it. It's just tried and true doesn't list the VOCs, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's supposedly honey or food safe.
Well, any polymerizing tongue oil or linseed oil, boiled linseed oil is going to be food safe once it gases off. It's the same with the tried and true.
Yes, and being as if anybody asks, okay, well, it's got beeswax in it. Well, that's part of honey.
There you go. Right, beeswax.
Okay, thank you. That was my comment. This is the first, and this was supposedly done for a quart jar, mason jar. It was 3 inches longer. I was doing a little bit too aggressive with the
centers.
Hey, we've all done it.
It broke off, so this is the recovery.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Great job.
Nothing but a tree limb waiting to become a honey dipper.
That's right.
Good job, Gary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Next up is Todd.
Hello, everybody. And boy, I had a great time at SWAT. Thank you, everybody that went. So Rita Duxbury was making little lighthouses. So I threw some cheap pin blank on the lathe and tried my first ever little lighthouse. It's about a 5-minute project. In this case, I should have spent about 7 minutes on it instead of the 5 because it's not good. But my goal is to just sit this on the lathe, and when I have a minute or two, look at it and make another one here and there. So had that. And then on Saturday there in Waco, I turned a little bowl and did a foot on the bowl again and finished the foot before I turned the bowl over because I didn't have cold jaws with me there, and so made just this little bitty bowl here in a demo. It had an abrasive paste on it, but no other waxes or anything on it. It's just unfinished right now. So I had that. I really like doing those little feet with a beating tool, and then if you get it sized just right, when you grab it with the dovetail chuck, it won't leave any marring. And then I know he's on here. Jim Duxbury is on here and with the Dux chuck. And after seeing his demo, I thought, with a little bowl like this, turn that foot and whatever, and then turn this thing around and size your Dux chuck for that, and just stick it in your Dux chuck, and then turn the bowl. And then that Dux chuck won't mar that foot at all. That wood around it. So I'm going to make me a Dux chuck and try that for these little bowls like that. About 2 weeks ago, I was showing this bowl, and I was talking about how I didn't like, I wasn't happy with how much embellishing wax was going into the grain. And Joaquin said, take a brass brush to that stuff to open it up. So I did another one out of ash, and I used the brass brush on it to open the grain up, so it really takes it takes that embellishing wax more and really makes the grain pop. And so finally, I think I'm at a point here where I'm starting to like my my end result then on the embellishing wax over the top of this one is Carnival Colors from Hampshire Sheen.
Beautiful.
So,
I love the way that looks, Todd. Can you describe how you apply the brass brush? Are you using it by hand or using a rotary or?
Yeah, sure. So, I sanded it to like 400 or something. And then the brass brush that I used was a little, like a round brush for going through a pipe or something. And because it was the only one I had. And so I took it in hand and I worked it across the grain by hand, turning it just with the grain all the time as I went, just staying with the grain by hand. And then when I was done, I went back to like a 600 grit sandpaper and then blew it out, put a thin coat of sanding sealer on it, and then did the embellishing wax. And then took as much of the wax off as I could. And it's got like 5 coats of lacquer over the top of that. And then I buffed it.
Very nice.
So I made this on Tuesday, buffed it on Wednesday, and then took it to SWAT on Thursday, put it in my gallery. So
beautiful.
Pretty happy. And then I've been messing with in the feet. I think it was Richard Raffin I saw that was doing little details in the bottom of a bowl or a foot with just a scraper. And he'd just take that scraper and he would turn it a little bit and then use the edge of that round scraper to do the little details and stuff. And so I played with just doing detail on the foot of this, just using a round scraper. So
it's a nice effect. Well done.
Something else.
I saw those pieces at SWAT, Todd. They were really pretty.
Oh, thank you, Billy. It was crazy how many worldwide woodturner people were there, how many of us had gallery items, and how incredible the gallery items were. Just between, just everybody that was there. And Billy, you had a list up there earlier and you missed Rita and Jim Duxbury, Scott Hampton, Joaquin, Glenn, Walt from Florida.
Yeah, Walt Wager.
Carey.
I thought Tom was in the list that he had up there, and it was just amazing with them. And I was lucky enough on 2 separate occasions to sit across the table from Eddie at dinner on Thursday night, and then at the banquet. Just best SWAT ever.
Yes, I did not leave anybody out on purpose. My brain is foggy today, and I couldn't remember everyone.
And then I apologize before I go. Matt, you introduced me. I think you did it correctly. My last name is Phipps.
Yep, Todd Phipps. Yep.
Yeah, you got that, Billy?
What? Because Billy couldn't get it. What did he call you?
I watched your video on the gallery, and you misspoke.
Yeah, when I was filming Todd's gallery stuff, I said Todd Pope. I have 2 friends named Todd.
Yeah,
3 actually, but Todd Phipps and Todd Pope, and they were both there. And I'm screwed up and misspoke, and I corrected it in the video.
You did. You called me an idiot. Todd Phipps, you idiot.
No, I called me an idiot.
Yeah, I know. Just giving you trouble.
Never a dull moment. Nice work, Todd.
Oh, thank you.
Next up is Patrick. What you got, Patrick?
I got this 6-sided piece I turned from a cube.
Oh my goodness.
And that's really interesting to turn because those wings are tough on the fingers.
I reckon.
I love it. I love it.
That's gorgeous.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Outstanding.
That's
And I don't see no Band-Aids.
It's a piece of ash, and the top is walnut.
Beautiful.
Yes, it is.
That looks fantastic. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
And then I got this piece. It's 5-axis turned,
Mm.
and the top is carved with a Merlin tool. And this down here was the same way.
What about the embellishment that you have?
That's another beauty.
That's done with laser engraver.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Looks like you have a different embellishment on each side.
It's 2 different ones. This
Okay.
is like an oak tree, and then that's a cross.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
That looks great, Pat.
The only thing I wish I'd have done different was make this down here, the bead, a little bit smaller, but it's okay.
I think it looks great.
Looks great.
It looks
Good job.
fantastic.
It looks
fabulous.
Thank you. And this I did a couple of weeks ago,
Oh.
and that's a piece of black walnut turned to about 2 mil thick. And
Wow.
the piercing was done with a drill bit and a rotary tool.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
And that
fantastic.
thing,
Well done.
it weighs nothing.
That's good for your diet suit.
So
Yeah.
so excuse me, Patrick. How
Yeah.
thin was it when you started doing the piercing with the drill bit?
2
You didn't wait
millimeters.
till then. I mean, did you go like maybe a 1/4 inch or so, or
No, 2 mil, he said.
no?
Yeah,
no,
the thickness
I know
of it's
it's
2
mil
mil.
now. So okay, so you did it when you got it down to 2 mil. You didn't do it a little bit more before.
Yeah, it was turned down to 2 mil thick and then pierced.
Right. And then the carving started.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot more work if the piece is thicker, Al.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, sometimes they say, people say, I drill holes a lot of times before I get things going down. I was just, verifying, that's all.
Gotcha.
It's beautiful, Al.
It's
Are you gonna make a parasol like we just seen earlier? That they had at SWAT?
I thought about trying it, but I don't know. I might.
Beautiful work, Patrick.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And I got one more piece. This is another
Oh,
piece
my.
of black walnut.
Wow. Gorgeous.
I love your work.
Very nice.
What are you finishing them with?
This was finished with spray lacquer.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
It's actually a Rust-Oleum. I hadn't ever used any Rust-Oleum lacquer, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works just as good as any of the other brands.
I can't tell a lot of difference.
Yeah, it looks
Right.
good.
You're still putting on the coats and sanding it back and so on, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same operation for all of it. That's all I got.
Nice job, Pat.
Thank you, Patrick.
What else we got?
Thanks.
Next up is Ray.
Ray.
All right. Well, again, I didn't get much turning done this week. I've been working a lot and it's been hot.
That's a dirty word.
But the DAW put on a platter workshop, the Detroit area woodturners. So I turned my first platter, and this was a
that's
project
nice.
we did. It's kiln dried ash. It's got like, you know, an OG type curve on it on the bottom. And you know, a nice, I don't know, thin little foot on there. It's pretty cool. It's textured. I don't know if
How'd you
Okay,
texture
you
it?
see it?
in there. And that was done with what do you call it? A little Merlin 2 with a little mini chainsaw wheel on there. And you know, we turned it about 500 RPMs and just moved the little chainsaw in and out, and that did the texturing. And then I did alcohol dyes and then guild paste, kind of I almost like a dry brush with my fingers just
Yeah.
across the top, and that's kind of what that metallic purple is.
I love that color
picks up
variation
on
in
there.
there.
Yeah, it looks good. Good color.
Did you apply
nice,
the
Ray.
alcohol stain just with a paper towel or something, or did you airbrush
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I
What'd you-
blotted it with a paper towel to make sure to get it in the recesses of the carving, and then dry the guild cream on the top surface.
That's fantastic.
Cool. Looks
Yeah,
great,
but just
Ray.
a
Good job,
paper
Ray.
towel, it worked good. And then it's finished with like what was it? The Mylands high build friction polish.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Very cool.
Great.
All right, thanks.
Who says you can't make ash look
Thanks,
good?
Ray.
Yeah, that was the first time I turned ash.
Right?
You know, it's all dead and rotten here in Michigan, so
Right.
I can't find it on the
Very good.
ground where it's not destroyed.
Yeah, we can't get it anymore. Yeah, that workshop
Yeah.
looked like it was very well attended.
Yeah, man, it's a shame that we're not that it's done.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't get ash in New York
All
either
right.
because the trees
Who
are
we
all
got
dead.
next? Who we got next, Matt?
Next up is Charlie.
Hey,
All
Charlie.
right, this is my first one. It's made out of two 2x3s
There you go.
together. I made lots of mistakes on it. That's why I figured I'd better do it with 2x3. But
Nice job,
it's
Charlie.
fun. That
Looks-
is actually half the size of a baseball bat.
Yeah.
It looks good, Charlie.
Good job. Good job, Charlie.
Looks like an
Not a
But
smart
if
work, says
anybody
it.
else that does this off-center turning or more than one center, make sure your holes don't get too big where the pins go in. That was one of the mistakes. It's a little bit bigger here.
Yeah.
You can see the top. It's because when I went to put it back in, it moved over too much.
That's all right. The layperson doesn't know the difference.
You have pretty good definition right there.
And there's a birdhouse. That's
Here we go.
salted
And
apple.
Birdhouse Bob.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's pretty.
Oh,
Don't
Nice
break
hat.
it.
I'm trying to. There, well, hold on.
There you go.
Job.
It's good.
Very
That's
cool.
all I have today. I was doing a lot more cleaning than work lately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So was he.
Cleaning has its place.
Well,
All
I
right.
clean twice a year.
There you go. That's not a bad ratio. Who we got next, Matt?
Next up is Howard. You there, Howard? Oh, he turned his
Okay.
video off on us.
Not the Howard.
The
Hey,
Howard. Roll Tide. There he is.
Hey. How y'all
What's up,
doing?
Alabama?
Yeah, boy, been some great stuff on the Zoom tonight and some beautiful things. And I really enjoyed going to SWAT, meeting everybody and that I've seen at the meeting. But I have a piece of mahogany here.
Oh my goodness.
I guess it's a platter or a wall hanging or something you set on the shelf. Is a little bit less than a 1/4 inch thick. And
nice.
That's the back of it. And it's pyrography on it, and also Pearson, and also did some burr work, these little holes, and did some bleaching on it. And I have a recovery on this. I took this to SWAT and everything was all right. And then Saturday I went into the gallery room. It was about 50 degrees in there. And I was looking at objects, and I came around where my table was, and everything you see here that was white on here, there was moisture, there was water, drops of water on everything that was white here. Could not figure out what in the world was going on. So went to the restroom, got some paper towels, and came out there and laid this thing down and daub all of the water off of it. And all the white was gone. It was just mahogany color.
Wow.
And so I started asking several people, what in the world, what happened? You know, what happened? So I finally ended up with Jim Duxbury, and we talked about it and discussed it. And he finally said, well, you know, the bleach is a well, I can't think, you know, to dry out a desiccant. It was a desiccant. And so apparently what would happen is it got so cold that the bleach part started condensation, all the moisture out of the air. And so I was kind of disgusted because all this is one mahogany color. So I packed it up, brought it home, and left it packed up. And then today I got it out, and I had decided that I was going to try to stool all the finish off of it and re-bleach these areas. So when I took it out of my what I had packed up, all the white had come back.
Wow.
Wow. Voodoo.
Wow.
What,
Yeah,
what's going on?
He showed me that piece after it happened, and I was dumbfounded.
I think it's some sort of, I think it's sorcery, some sort of sorcery going on. And I don't, is there something in Texas that, you know, sorcery going on? I don't know. I just,
magic.
But it was like magic, you know, bing, there it came right back. And when I packed it up, all these white places was real rough because water had been on it. And so I figured I'm going to get home, take all the finish off of it, re-bleach these areas, sand it out and everything, and put another finish on it. Voila. So I don't know what I did to.
And my guess is Jim was right.
Yeah.
My guess
the bleach
is don't
acted
take it
like
back
a
to Texas. Don't take it back to Texas.
Yep. The bleach acted like a desiccant. It absorbed the water.
Yeah. And they had turned the air conditioner down. I mean, it was freezing cold in that gallery on Saturday. And so I guess this just sucked all the moisture out of the room into here.
Well,
you know.
Well, they had a credit on their electric bill because last year the AC didn't work.
Well, they made up for it, I guess, this year.
Had power outages last year.
It was
hence
cold.
Hence the credit.
And people was,
all right,
yeah, no, I'm with you. No.
All right.
It's always cold down there.
Yeah, I went and bought one of those IAW
denim shirt to wear because I was freezing. But anyway, that's all I got to share. But I just
He's
Hold that so that we can see it. It's got too much glare on it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, even if it's a
Yeah, it
curtain.
is.
That is a beautiful piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you did
Oh,
a
there you go.
great
Put it
job,
like
Howard.
that, we can see it.
Yeah, you should see it in person.
Is that better, Tim? John, is that better?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can see it now.
You know, everybody was worried about the heat coming to Texas. They're like, oh, it's Texas in August. It's going to be too hot. I told everybody they got AC there in that.
Right. I
convention.
know.
Well, when Gary and I left Alabama, it's about 88 degrees here, and we got there and it's 100 degrees. Then on the way back, when we got back to Alabama, it was 100 degrees. So
You took it home with you, huh?
yeah, that's sorcery.
All right.
Sorcery going on.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks, Howard.
All right.
Matt, who else we got?
Well, we've had a couple of people drop off for the list. So Howard's the last one I got on my list now.
Well,
So,
hey, that's perfect timing then. We're at the top of
Yep.
the hour.
Yep, exactly where we need to be, Dane.
Absolutely. Anybody else have a last second item they would like to share? We got about 5 minutes. We can.
Hey,
we can
Dane,
squeeze
I've got a
in.
question for everybody.
Hey, everybody, it's Dean
Hey,
Grimes.
Dane.
Hey, look at that.
It's been a while.
Who's
And I
that
tell
there?
you what, Captain, I hate I didn't get to go to SWAT to see you this time. We're busy remodeling this house, and this week they're starting on my new shop. So I'll have a 30 by 50 shop right out beside the house. So if
Fantastic.
anybody has any ideas of things that they are super glad they did, or things that God they wish they'd have done when they built their shop, please send me a note or let me know.
Hey, Dean,
Plan
I'll
your-
throw
plan
my,
your-
I'll
plan-
throw my phone
plan-
number in the
let-
comments real quick for you, and you can call me because I've had my new shop. I think I'm going on 3 years now. And so, yeah, I'll definitely give you my what I wish I would have done different.
Okay, good
Make it-
deal.
Let me throw it in
Plan-
there.
bigger.
Plan your machinery spots in your dust collection now and put your dust collection in first.
That's a good idea.
Yes, in a separate
Well-
room.
Whenever you set the center of your shop up, the center of your shop needs to be the saw. That's the heart of any shop, is the saw.
Which kind of saw?
Well, I mean,
There you go.
probably knows what in my case now it's a bandsaw. I mean, when I set up some of the other shops and places, welding shops, the saw is the beginning of everything that you do. Have
I
your
don't know,
saw
I most-
stay in
should
the
be the
shop and
beginning.
Make everything.
Yeah,
make
I
everything
mostly
around
use the
that.
table saw to hold stuff.
Yeah, my
Yeah, my
table
work-
saw. I
my
use the
workbench
table
is the
part.
center.
It's the saw that
Well,
never
he
gets
just said-
used,
he
but
said-
the
he
table gets
said-
used
he
all the
said
time.
He just said big numbers. What? Would you say 30 by 50?
Yes.
I mean, so there, you know.
And my table saw is in the center of my shop, and I use it all the time.
It needs to be in the center.
Hey,
Yeah, my whole shop is built around my lathe. My lathe is my primary tool, and everything else is secondary to it. So,
Could we get all of these? Could we get
Richard.
all of these on the web page so that we can? A lot of us are making new shops and things.
Totally done. What?
It'd be real nice to
Yeah.
have some place to look and see what everybody else has done.
That is an awesome idea.
I like Kelly's idea too. You need a bathroom and a cot for all of us.
Well, I tell you what, that
Mine's
was
got a
one of the
bathroom in it.
first things I said. It's got to have a bathroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can use facilities without having to go into the house and empty all the dust out of your clothing.
I can sit there in the house all day long and never have to go. But if I walk in 3 steps into that shop, I have to turn around and go back in the house, you know?
You and me both.
Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law.
Yep.
Hey, Richard.
Exactly.
Richard,
Well,
one
I
thing
still
you
live in the country.
you need to do is don't decide at first exactly where everything's going to be, because as you start working and you start seeing what works for you, you'll want to move them around, and maybe 2 or 3 years later you'll have it set up exactly how you want it. So don't start off with anything set.
And you want to overbuild your electrical outlets. You want to have them up, 4 foot. You want to have them up above you. you want to have more than you're actually going to use.
And some of them
Lot,
from the
lots of
ceiling.
electrical outlets.
Lots of them from the ceiling too.
Yes.
Yep.
When
Yeah,
I did
thought
mine,
about putting some in the floor, but I don't really think I'm going to because I don't want to be tied down to that. I think I'm going to run them from the ceiling.
Hey,
Yes.
Dean, another thing you want to do is you want to put in a mechanized hydraulic cable hoist
Yes,
across your
Hoist.
ceiling.
sure.
Take
Now,
your
what do you
tail
can
stock
do the
off.
heavy
A little cable crane, you know, it's
Okay.
$150 little crane that'll lift 1,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds.
Right.
And especially by your lathe, that way you can lift up your logs and put it onto the lathe, because I'm in the same boat as you. I think I'm going to be building me a new shop here, and that's going to be one of the key features that I'm going to have for mine, is so I can get away from using my big push it around on the floor 1,000 pound, 1,500 pound engine hoist to put big logs on the leg,
Yeah,
and that
that's
way
a
I have
good
everything
idea.
up mechanized.
and
You
that
know,
elect,
and I've even found, I don't know what, because I did not read this in the Powermatic manual when I bought mine, but something's going on with my tailstock that every year that thing gets heavier. Is that happening to your
right?
guys' tailstock?
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah, they
It's
gain
not
weight every year, just like us.
It's every time. It's every time I got to take it off, Doug. It's
Doug?
heavier.
That's exactly why I went ahead and spent the $300 on a swing away.
Right,
For
but you
mine.
turn off the side of your lathe. I don't. I turn from the end.
Kelly made a good
I
point.
can still turn from the end of
Drawing.
mine with my swing away out of the way.
Can you?
Make a drawing of everything, you know, just like a planogram for building designing the kitchen. And do a drawing on where you want to put everything to scale. Or if you already have the slab out there, get some cardboard and make cardboard or paper cutouts, lay it on the ground so you know where everything goes, and then you can arrange your shop that way. Other
So
point,
I did that,
make
Dean.
sure it's all got wheels on it if it's mobile. That way you can push it around the shop wherever you want. So you're
Right.
not confined to one spot.
Yeah, so Dean, I did something very similar to that. I drew it out on graph paper, and then I wasn't getting the good feel for it. So before I put anything on my shop, I just used sidewalk chalk and went in there and just
That's
kind
a
of
good
scribed it
idea.
out on the floor, and to see how I felt about that and where I was going to stand. And then you guys will laugh at me for this. Eddie Caslin, I sent Eddie a picture when I did this stupid mistake. I mean, I took forever, figured it all out, put that lathe right where I wanted it, and then realized I had no way of getting my knockout bar in there to get my spur drive
Oh
out.
no. Yeah, I remember you
All of
saying
the way.
something about that.
So Dean, I would put that hoist that Dane was talking about. I'd put that on a trolley track, like if you got an old barn trolley, so you can move it from one end of your shop to the other, or side to side, whichever way you want it to run.
That's a
'Cause
good
then-
idea.
Lattice.
Because then you can use it for multiple things.
Right.
That's a
what I'm
good
gonna do.
idea.
Yeah, you can lift your lathe or parts of it.
Dean, I can't wait till you get back doing some demos.
I'll tell you what, I have been just about to die to get out there in that shop.
I bet.
And there was so long, I had several things going wrong with my legs, bursitis, bone on bone, arthritis, and all that crap, till I couldn't hardly stand up. It's gotten a lot better, but I've been spending all of my free time up here redoing this house.
Right. I've been relaying, our messages back and forth, Dean. I've been relaying them to the group that, you're doing all right. You're busy remodeling your new place there. And, everybody, every week somebody will ask, what's going on with Dean Grimes?
Yeah, we've been missing you.
Well, I miss it. I miss you guys. I promise you that.
Yeah.
And if there's any new turners on here that don't know who Dean is, Dean's the guy that made turning the cross on the lathe a thing. So
Yes,
you need
yes,
to
he
go
did.
watch how he does that. I can't give those things away fast enough when I make them. And I learned it from that man right there that y'all are looking at.
Yeah.
Well,
Right on.
the more you make, the more people are blessed. And so that
Amen.
Yeah.
that's a good thing all the way around.
Right. Hey, let me butt in here real quick. Let me do the demarcation points. So for everybody, this is the end of the official meeting. At 7 o'clock, we end the regularly scheduled 3-hour meeting, and then we go into the after hours. So this is the time when if you want to jut off and say goodbye, you can. If you want to hang out, let your hair down, and get to know some of the rest of us that stay on and socialize.